Monday Night Football, baby. We're here.
There's only one other good play on Minnesota.
Touchdown in 46 seconds. Punches back. Touchdown.
Run Pure Sports here with UFC 322, New York City, Madison Square Garden, DELLA MADDALENA versus MAKHACHEV in the main event with another title fight. So we've got two 5-round fights to attack for fantasy, for betting purposes. I am Mike Brown, aka H3 Buddha, here with GSU. I mean, listen, we have Valentina as a co-main event. She's typically a co-main event, but always a fantasy darling in her own right against another fantasy darling and Weili Zhang in that co-main event spot. Man, this top to bottom is the fight card to be looking at because let's be honest, we've had a lot of bad cards over the last month or two, and this is all worth it because, I mean, Borislav is in the first fight of the night, and this guy comes and brings it, whether he's getting finished or he's finishing opponents. And then you've got the new star they're trying to bring up in Susnakarev in the second fight of the night. This is a stacked card, JSU, is it not?
Absolute banger of a card. Yeah, we get treated to this banger of a card, after a couple, okay cards, but not from like a name standpoint, but it's because we get all the names, the big names on this card, and it's worth it, man. It's worth it to get some of these sick cards here. We're gonna have some awesome fights. DFS slate's gonna be really interesting with a lot of these price tags and how we go about attacking. You got the two main event fights with the 5 rounds, so that throws another interesting twist on it, and then some other mid-tier fights that we'll kind of get to. But yeah, I'm pumped for this card. It's fucking awesome. Kind of pissed I gotta wait until 6 p.m. for it to start, but it'll be worth it all night just hanging out watching the fights. So I do love fights. I do love spending my night watching the fights, so it'll be fun.
You like sitting in Discord, our premium Discord, talking with the people saying, hey, we're seeing stuff in real time. So I think this card is the best card I've seen, and it might be a top 3 because I've played this game for a very long time. I know that you have GSU, but I will go on record as saying this is one of the best DFS slates I've ever seen to break down. I'm thrilled to break it down with you because there's tight pricing. We got that Malcolm Wellmaker obvious value. I think that's a situation you kind of have to really make a decision right away. Outside of that, I mean, there are so many combinations of winning type of lineups when you start constructing. What were your initial thoughts going into the week? Because even as Wellmaker being just a typical favorite against his original opponent in Haddon, I think he was going to be popular. But I mean, you look at leverage spots, you could argue that there's like leverage on every single underdog because I think there's going to be love on a lot of the favorites this week.
Yeah, it's interesting with that Wellmaker. We've had these spots before where a guy looks pretty good as is, gets the nice price tag, and we're like, oh, he's going to be a good play, and then all of a sudden, his opponent gets ruled out, and we get someone else just coming in on short notice. I mean, this dude, he's going to fight now. I mean, he fought like, what is it, like 10 days ago, 8 days ago or something like. It's crazy. So yeah, it's just like what you do with that fight is going to be a big talking point for DFS, and we'll kind of get into it. But it is kind of funny because like the Haddon, I was really interested with the Haddon side actually with the Wellmaker because I think Haddon's very good, maybe underrated to people who haven't seen him fight that much. But it is funny how like Haddon on the Dana White Contender Series, I think just beat the opponent that Ewing just knocked out about 8 days ago, Billy Brand on the Dana White Contender Series. So that's a little interesting, but yeah, it's gonna be fun to kind of go through it because that's obviously a leverage point. I think there's a few fights on this card where you're gonna be able to find some leverage too because of everyone want to have a piece of both main event fights, right? And then the Malcolm Wellmaker thing, like those three, whether you have the Islam side, the JDM side, the Zhang side, the Valentina side, those three fights are going to be big time ownership. They're going to get owned a lot. So bang, that's half your lineup right there, Mike. So if you decide, hey, I'm going to be lower on like one of those three fights, I think that's a talking point on how to get unique. And we'll kind of look through and see which of those three is maybe the worst of the three to maybe take a chance at fading on some of your lineups. But yeah, I mean, that's the talking point right there. I think we'll go through it as we go.
Yeah, I'd almost kind of be surprised at that 25 big contest if there's not some sort of unique build that gets to the top, directly correlated to what you just said there, because there are so many opportunities top to bottom on this card. Shout out to everybody in chat, Chef, Dub, Lone Wolf, everybody in here, Matty Ice, get your questions in there. We appreciate all the feedback. Smash the like button as you're coming into the show. And we will start off with a late notice fight that kind of came about out of nowhere, JSU. It was like, we had this fight card set for 13 fights. You think, hey, top to bottom, it's stacked. And they sneak this one in on us. It's kind of an odd one, man. It's Borislav Boryshev versus Mateusz Camilo, and we have Camilo coming in as the favorite here, a minus 162 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Comeback on Slava Claus is a plus 136. Listen, I see this as one of two ways, kind of. I think Camilo has shown to somewhat get a little bit slower down the stretch in his fights. We saw him against, Gabe Green, the second round. He kind of went out way too heavy in that first. I mean, I think he could do that same exact game plan. I think this could be a repeat where he comes out hot. He looks good. He knocks Borislav a couple times, maybe goes to those legs like everybody does. Isn't it the path of least resistance to go in there and take Slava Claus down, JSU?
It's definitely the path to least resistance. And you saw Terrence McKinney, who, in my mind, I mean, he goes out there and he tries to bring it to you like instantly. And even he recognized, like, I take this guy down. I got this guy. I'm going to finish him. You know what I mean? So, like, he's normally someone who likes to strike first, feel it out, and then he'll go to the takedowns late in that first round if he's not feeling it in the striking. And he immediately went for the takedown. Slava threw some, kind of shitty, just like low kick, and he caught it, ran him through, and got him down. And then the one good thing about Slava is he never settles, Mike. So when he's on the ground, he's going to give you chances to get submissions. He's going to give you his neck. He's going to try and, get up. That's the one good and bad thing. So if you have guys that are, good grapplers, have good submissions, which Camilo does, I think that's his best part to his game, honestly, is his grappling. At times he gets a little too, confident on his back sometimes with the grappling. But if he's on top, like he is a very good grappler, sometimes maybe overly aggressive, but you want that for finishes. So I do think this fight finishes. I could totally see what you're saying, where Camilo wins like the first round. He doesn't find the finish, though. He starts to slow down. And I've seen this guy, like, in the third round, I've seen this guy, like first of all, use his head to block punches and just, like, move forward. And then also, like, pull guys into almost, like, into guard, where he just falls back on his back because he's so tired. So there's paths to this fight being very good for DFS, I think. And I do feel like it finishes. So I think it's a good fight to target here. And I see a case for both sides. So this is a fight where I can get a piece of both sides. One bet I did like in this fight, and I've hit a couple of these recently back to back with these fight to end via submission. Camilo's plus 350 by submission, but the fight to end by submission is like plus 300. And I think it's a good side. I think Camilo's going to force the wrestling and grappling with Slava. And we've seen Camilo gets subbed when he gets overly aggressive too. Gabe Green did it. And on the show, we were all over the Gabe Green sub.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it was like plus 800. We were all over that. I know I hit like a few massive parlays with Gabe Green. And that was all because Camilo went for, I think it was a triangle. He loves the triangle. He goes for the triangle all the time. And Gabe Green kind of fought his way out of it, took his back, and just put in the rear naked choke. So, yeah, I see this fight kind of ending, and I think it could end via sub. So I like that bet as a sneaky little flyer there.
Hey, you like your flyer bets there? We have a 30% profit boost on winning method. So you could start the night off pretty hot there if you started there. We'll kind of give our picks throughout the day on how we would use that. And not to mention, get in the Discord. We're definitely going to show you what we would use that on. And I think I agree with a lot of your points there. It's just that when you look at this card, you have to look at the strong plays. And I think that Camilo is going to go a little bit under-owned for what he could do. I'm seeing 33, so it actually is kind of high for him. But when you look at leverage, you want to look at something like this where it's 15% for Borislav, and he has a direct path to, surviving that first round. Put up at least like 10 points in the first round for us, Slava, because if you're on the bottom, you're not going to be doing anything for our DFS lineups. But I mean, even a second round finish, if he's able to just knock him a couple times, one knockdown gets you to like that 85 points. That could be enough on this card. I do think that the winning lineup is going to be like unbelievable scoring. Would you be surprised if it wasn't like multiple 105 plus? Because I think there's going to be one of the biggest scoring slates ever.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we saw no 9K winners on the winner either. So I wouldn't be shocked for both of those things to be true. I could see a lot of 8K, those even 8K, mid to upper 8Ks to mid 7Ks, like you said, having big scores, because in a lot of those fights, like you're getting, the favorite is, looks good, but like they're fighting other really good fighters. You know what I mean?
Yep.
These are high level fights. A lot of these fights that we're going to break down. So maybe not like this one and the next one, but once we start getting into the meat of this card, you're gonna be like, man, like both sides, they look pretty good, and we're gonna take the better, obviously, of what we think. But
you're sacrificing a lot, right?
Yeah.
GSU. The problem is once you get below, and I would almost say the breaking point is Leon Edwards at 73, which is essentially the same play as Borislav. When it comes to
all right, that's where we. That's where we fight a little bit on this card. I'm not. Nope, Leon.
No. I'm saying when it starts getting real greasy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if you don't want to factor him in, then maybe Beneil Dariush, right? Like that's where it starts getting like, like I have to sacrifice a lot of confidence once you get below him is essentially what I'm saying, because I do also agree. I love the middle range. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a winner, because the meat and potatoes is right here. I mean, from the Wiley down, it's a really, really strong card to Dariush for underdogs.
Angela Hill is the Neil Magny of the women's MMA.
Don't say that
right there.
You can stop a takedown. Maybe the initial burst you can stop, okay? But yeah, that is a funny comment right there. Let's look at pick 6, man. If you have any strong takes, give them to me, because right now this card is loaded. I'm not sure. I mean, the only thing I would be looking at is a Camilo over, and I think that is risky. Like we said, if he gasses out, that could be really poor down the stretch. Significant strikes, I can kind of pull up where he was in his
the takedown line's interesting too, because Slava's not going to settle. So like, he could get over 1.5 takedowns.
Let's see, Slava, 1 takedown. It's taken one a couple times, and even the striker was taking him down.
No, what I'm saying is he's not going to settle. So like, he's going to try and get up immediately, which can put him in danger, obviously, but he could go back down.
We don't like our 0.8s, do we?
No, not really. You
well,
can click the fantasy for now, and we can always it's
a great spot. Let's be honest. When you look at potential grapplers, because we do have a lot of grapplers, it's funny. We've got a good dichotomy of grapplers and pure power strikers. And unfortunately, some of them are matched up together, so it makes for a weird, like if you're trying to go for the grapple build, it kind of creates a very odd build. But regardless, we go to
I'm not, by the way, just to answer the question, I'm not big on Leon, especially for DFS. Like,
that,
you know, if
that
you want
fight
a
as a
dog
whole.
that's at least going to go for it, like Leon Edwards, you're going to be screaming at your TV saying, like, go, move forward, throw, like, do something.
Well, I agree.
I'm with the other side of the Leon. You know, if Leon wins, he wins. But I can't trust Leon to at least go for it. And Prates is dangerous. So yeah, I'm definitely on the other side of that question.
Absolutely. I understand that because Gregory Rodriguez brings it from the first bell as well. So that's a great paced fight. But we move to the second fight of the night where we see Bysingor Susukarov. I think I nailed that, man. A big favorite in this spot against Eric McConaughey. McConaughey coming in off of a split decision win against everyone's favorite. Oh my God, brain fart. Help.
Come on.
I know. I should know it. Cody Brundage. Yep, of course. I mean, look, all the betting odds have come straight down on Susukarov here, down to a minus 1,200 from the opening DraftKings line at minus 850. How do you fade this guy? I think you fade him if you think he's chinny, but is McConaughey that guy to do it? Problem is, for DFS side of things, this is the most expensive guy on the slate, JSU. He has to be more than perfect at 9,800 for DraftKings purposes. Like I just had a second ago, the best inside the distance lines clearly by a mile on this slate at minus 500. How do you handle this situation? Because I feel like he's kind of price restrictive, but does he have sneaky takedown? I mean, he's not going to go for takedowns. I think he's just happy with the hands, and he got caught last time, and he said that was a poor performance. So I feel like maybe if he's got the full camp, right? Last time he fought on a Tuesday, then fought on a Saturday. Yeah. Maybe he's a little bit more smart in this camp and says, I have an advantage on the ground. Even if I knock him, I can take him down. I think this is going to be a great prospect. Somebody we will be talking about, I imagine, on our show that we eventually do here for the new year, breaking down prospects and potential sleepers in the division. But Eric McConaughey, serviceable. What can you give him? I mean, made it to the UFC. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's like a placeholder. Eric McConaughey, he's not very good. And I wouldn't even say like, you know, he's really good at this one thing. But you know, he's gonna go for it. He knows he's a big dog. You know, Bysingor Susukarov though is the most. I think he's one of the most like confident guys I've seen. You know, come up really fast. When you watch him fight, he kind of almost like takes the opponent like not seriously. I don't know if that was just because he fought on a short week. He was very confident, but it's almost like overconfidence at times. And this dude, I think, Mike, I don't think it's this fight, but at some point we'll be able to fade him because you saw it. Like he got tagged in the last fight, didn't like it, started going to the wrestling, which he has. So that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, you can tell this dude is coming in very, very confident in himself. Might be a little too much. Maybe with the full camp, though, like you said, he'll fight a little smarter and everything like that. But, you know, is Eric McConaughey the most dangerous guy in the world? Is he going to give him the problems? I don't think so. So either way, I think he's got the skills to get this fight finished. The question is, though, is he going to cover 9,800?
Yeah,
and I'm going to say, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't like it. 9,800. I think I'm going to go elsewhere and just hope he doesn't put up, you know, the big 120 score and get the finish really quick, or get multiple takedowns. I mean, even those takedowns, like he was getting tired. You know what I mean? He did find the fit, but he was getting tired.
That's okay. So, he's got top position.
Yeah.
But yeah. And it's funny when I see a minus 500 inside the distance, one of the things I immediately do is I go down to the odds and I say, oh, what's the most likely outcome for him? It's knockout, right? We're looking at a knockout on DraftKings Sportsbook at a minus 280. Okay. And this is a guy who is going to dominate, right? According to the sports books. How the hell is his submission line a plus 500? I mean, look, money has come in on it from a plus 650. I'm sprinkling on the submission because like all it takes is a club and sub type of situation, right? And at plus 500, that bet can look good even if he knocks him down, honestly. Or if he goes the wrestling path, that's going to look like $1 million. So strictly from a betting standpoint, I'm going to be sprinkling on the submission prop here. It's not a huge amount of confidence, but it's more about how do I slice up this big price tag. Now, from fantasy, you nailed it. How the hell do we play the minus 1,200 on this slate? I like his scoring ability. He's almost, isn't it funny that we have Bo Nickel on this slate, JSU, and Susakarev is now the new Bo Nickel pricing. Remember Bo Nickel?
I thought you were going to say new.
No.
Yeah, don't go there.
I'm not saying
disrespect him like that.
But it's funny, the parallels, how you and I both think he will get exposed in the future. I mean, the parallels are kind of funny, even though he's a striker at heart. 9,800 is what I'm referring to. And I think he's got that sneaky scoring ability because in that first fight, he kind of just held him and then could rip him to the cage. The volume striking is going to be a problem. Like, if you're not getting the volume striking here, I don't think you're going to be able to hit that ceiling, right? And therefore, I don't know if I can get to him at 9,800. When I look at ownership, I wish that he was like, a lot lower because I'm seeing him at 40% ownership. That might be a little bit high. He might be close to the 33.
I think that'll come under. I would say 40, but 33. Still, it'll be high.
Yeah. And it's like nobody and their mother wants to try a stab on McConaughey at single digit. I mean, McConaughey probably will be the lowest owned. Not much to be had there, but we move from one great prospect to, I'd say, definitely another potential prospect here. Fatima Klein versus Angela Hill. Fatima Klein coming in as the favorite in this spot. She is a minus 535 on DraftKings. Look at that. Consistent money coming in. There's no buyback on Angie here. Angie being the underdog at plus 400. I mean, Fatima Klein is a prospect that should go in there and implement her grappling and kind of get the takedowns early. But, sometimes she likes to mix it up on the feet. If anything, Angela could have more volume on the feet. I wish it was a different card, honestly, because if I'm clawing for win equity, Angie's one of those split decision. They raise her hand and you're like, what the hell? Like, why? How did she win this fight? She got taken down 3-4 times and she, did more damage. I can't get here. There's a couple women's fights on this slate, right? And they are just outside of the 5 rounds. The other fight is just not a lot to be had. This one's certainly not a lot to be had, but how do you really, how do you look at this fight? Because it's like, if Fatima Klein's going in there actively going for takedowns, I would love to have a piece of her because I think her scoring ability on DraftKings would be very, very good. And the last side of things, we forgot to look at pick 6 for Susakarev. 106 actually is an accurate line, but I mean, 9.5 strikes. Where's the under?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's wild. I don't think we've seen this type of figure, even for guys that were minus 2,000. 9.5 is wild. I don't see anything here, so we'll just move to that next fight.
Yeah, right? I would go the under on the fantasy points if I were to pick, so we don't have to go to that one. But going back to the Fatima Klein fight here, it's crazy. Like, so Fatima Klein was a favorite, I think, against Jasmine, her first fight, which is just wild. It kind of shows you like how much respect they had for her kind of coming in to the UFC and stuff like that. She's definitely a really good prospect. She goes out there, last fight out, she finishes Melissa Martinez, who hadn't been finished, who's a solid fighter. And shout out to me because I gave that out as my best bet. So I was really happy that she finished her in the 3rd round. Thank you. But I do think that she could do that kind of again. She does have a style, I think, that could give Angie Hill some problems. And Angela Hill, for how good she's been, she's getting up there. And you could tell it in the last fight, Mike. And I know she's fought a lot of good fighters and she's gave a lot of good fighters, some issues. But I think in the last fight, we finally saw Angela Hill start to slow down Now, should she be this big of a dog? Maybe not, but I think Fatima is going to give her problems. It'll probably still go to a decision, but I don't mind sprinkling the Fatima inside the distance at plus 275. You know, Angie Hill is tough, but yeah, it wouldn't shock me if she found a finish here. I think she's very, very good. Like I said, her only losses to Jasmine. That's, she couldn't stop Jasmine. That's not that big of a deal here. Jasmine's one of the top fighters. So yeah, I'm on the Fatima side for a bet. I do like the inside the distance at plus 275. For DFS though, 9,500 again. That's a big pill to swallow. You know what I mean? You're gonna need. I don't think she's getting the early finish on Angie. So I think if the finish comes, I think it's coming a little later, probably second or third round. And you're gonna definitely need some wrestling here, Mike, right? To get, I think, over that price tag, to crush that price tag.
I mean, she's the lowest favorite on the slate as one of, the second money line biggest favorite.
So you could easily get over the field on her if you wanted in DFS, and it's not that big of a deal. And that's probably, if I were to get anywhere, it would just be slightly over, probably to the field though. What's she going to be? 8, 9, 10% owned?
Right there. That's what I have. And the problem is, I mean, look at Victoria Dudakova stalled her out. The stalling out is the problem. Even in the second round, it just doesn't give you the ceiling that you're going to need.
Yeah, that's the problem. And like, I don't even know, like at 9,500 is like 105 on the slate can actually get it done for like seriously, like
no, I believe it. Yeah.
I think like if these 9K guys, cause we said like, we think a bunch of fighters might get over 100, right? I think like price matters because like if, 9,500, I think they might need to get like 115, 120, get over that like 105 mark here. And I just don't know. I don't know if she's going to against Angie Hill, but if she does, I'll be a little shocked, but not surprised if she gets a finish and it looks really good. And Angie Hill just really shows her age.
It's funny, you and I want to sprinkle on some bigger props, don't we, this week? Because I'm on the same thing. I think Klein inside the distance is good. I think it's good because you cover that fluky type of knockout, which she was able to do last time. I love how DraftKings Sportsbook has the best odds on Angie Hill to win by inside the distance here. That is kind of funny. They're baiting you in there, but all sarcasm aside, it is a strong play, but it's price restrictive. I just don't think you can get here from a DFS side of things. From a betting market, I like that potential submission. I think I would little taken back by the 70.5 was the initial take here. Let's do a little science experiment while we are looking. 3 rounds of.
I think the idea would be right. Angie Hill's durable, right, Mike? So
yeah.
If this fight gets later in the fight, almost like the Melissa Martinez fight, right? She gets over the number and finds the finish at the end. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's kind of looking at, still some respect from the durability standpoint of Angie Hill. Is she just going to go out there and put her out? I agree with you. It's kind of a high number, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I just looked there as we saw her on the screen. It was all like 70s, whether it be Angie absorbing 70 or Klein in those competitive fights being 70. So, yeah, I mean, I know you want to take the under, but I mean, what happens if it's a 30-26? That's the other side of the coin, right? If it's a 30-26 type of fight, it's going to be in Klein's favor, and that probably benefits her from control time. I almost wish that we had the old style scoring for this fight. And like you were saying, Camilo earlier, where it could be advances. Imagine the advances scoring. It'd be 5 points, 5 points, 5 points. Because Klein is the type of fighter that would do that and probably try to keep control on the mat anyways. So that's actually Klein and Blanchfield are from the region. I believe they're New Jersey girls. They're training partners. So
I know Erin is. I wasn't sure about Klein.
I'm pretty sure Klein is, yeah. And she'll get a lot of the home crowd behind her. I think it's hilarious that there's a minute and a half of control time for Angie. I wish we had the under on that as well. But listen, I always talk about ugly women's MMA. I don't think it's here, man. I honestly think this level of women's MMA on this slate negates itself when it comes to the 2-3 rounders.
Well, yeah.
So I'm not going to say ugly women's MMA. This is
Well, and
higher
this
level.
isn't ugly women's MMA. You know, Angela
No.
Hill, she's fighting solid fighters, even in losses. Like the fighters she's fighting are still solid competition. You know, Ricci, Souza, Lucindo. Those are, I think, just above the ugly women's MMA threshold.
Sure.
So, and like I said, Fatima is definitely. I mean, her first fight was against Jasmine. That enough said right there. She was a favorite. So that's all you need to hear.
Oh, yeah. Invicta likes to give women an opportunity to shine as they're moving up. We've got Dub Bills from Matos in chat. Also easy. How you doing? Everybody get in on chat and make sure you are smashing the like button as you're tuning in here today. And I think we have a pressure point on the card, do we not, JSU? Chepe Mariscal versus Pat Sabatini. Line has bounced a little bit this week. Pat Sabatini on DraftKings Sportsbook, a -118 favorite. Comeback on Mariscal, a -102. Kind of a funny boomerang the buyback has been in on Chepe. Two things. One, definitely a pressure point when I have to emphasize it, because price point is everything. 8,300 for Pat Sabatini at lower ownership. People are going to love themselves some Chepe Mariscal on the slate. I think he's going to be higher than the 25% that I see. There's a lot of these plays in this that we talked about, from Wiley down to Benny Dariush. And I think Mariscal is one of those guys that he fits my mold. He's going to be a guy that has a better inside the distance line than his opponent. And the other thing I was going to bring up was, did you see there was a little like bang on it? Was either he had a bruise on his arm or he's got staph infection. If there's only two options there. So I am a little bit concerned, and I had to say that right away to make sure that you knew it as well. But I mean, Mariscal at a +240 inside the distance compared to Sabatini's +450. This fight comes down to one thing: can Pat get those takedowns early and often? And if he's not getting those takedowns, he is going to be feeling it on the feet, man. And this is a great fight. I love that it's a little bit lower owned. Thank God we have 14 fights, GSU, because I personally love this one. I hope you do too. And it's all because of Pat Sabatini coming in, going for those takedowns, making the scoring ability of a fight go through the roof.
Yeah, so this is one of two fights that I'm definitely uneasy with, partly because anyone who's watched these shows knows I'm a huge Patty Sabs guy and I'm a huge Chepe Mariscal guy. Chepe is just one of those guys I just haven't bet against, you know, and it's worked out so far. I've won a lot of money with Chepe. Patty Sabs, I was on him big time last time out against Brito as an underdog, and Pierce. Love Patty Sabs, got the job done. But the one thing about those fights, one of the things I knew about Brito was I knew when Patty Sabs was going to shoot, Brito was going to just rely on his grappling. And what did we see? He was jumping for guillotine. We knew it. We knew it was going to happen. And we knew he wasn't going to get Patty Sabs, because Patty Sabs, when it comes to just straight grappling, is one of the best grapplers in this division, bar none. And so I was like, I trust Patty Sabs. I don't think Brito's subbing him. So if he's not subbing him and he's jumping for these things and he's relying, Patty Sabs is going to eventually get him down and he's going to control him. What did we get, Mike? We got 14 minutes and 47 seconds of control time. Literally exactly how I thought it would happen. The problem with this fight is Chepe just never stops moving. Even if you get him down, he always is trying to work his way up. So we're going to get one of two things, I think. I think, one, this fight might have sneaky finishing ability, because Chepe is not just going to lay on his back, Mike, and let Pat control him for 14. There's just no way. So what's going to happen? He's going to be he's going to give Pat advantageous positions to try and get up. You know, whether he's got to give him his neck or he's got to give him his back, he's going to do something to get back up. So that's going to give Pat, you know, better chances at maybe trying to get a submission. It's also, though, going to create more scrambles, and Chepe in scrambles is really good. And if they get to the feet, who do you trust more on the feet? Because I definitely trust Chepe on the feet. And I think the gap's a little wider, and we've kind of seen it when Pat is on the feet with some of these guys that have grappling, right? That can use the grappling just to defend, not offensively grapple like Joe Anderson Brito was trying to do. There's a difference between those two things. So, that's why this fight, I'm very apprehensive about like betting aside with the money line. But I do think plus 600 for Patty Sab's sub is a good bet if you're on the Patty Sab side, because I do think Chepe is going to be, trying to get back up, so he'll give him chances. And I think the plus 330 by KO for Chepe is a good side, because I see this fight finishing one way or the other. I think either Chepe stops the takedowns, and if he stops the takedowns early, Mike, I think he's going to get in his face and he's going to just eventually put him down and hurt him really bad. And then find a finish. And like I said, I think if Patty Sabs gets him down, he's got a shot there. So I like it for DFS. I'm gonna be almost split ownership. I think I got them 38% each in my DFS.
That's
so it's
beautiful.
One of those fights that I'm going over on, and I'm also trying to get a good amount of both sides.
And let me be honest, it's not going to be hard to get over on Sabatini. He's kind of a reverse value when you look at all the love for Chepe in this fight. People are going to want to play Chepe. The problem is 100%. Sabatini has that style for DraftKings scoring in particular that will make you look like $1 million in a win. But when he loses, he's been losing by knockout. That's my problem, right? When you look at the fight logs here for him, he's losing to Damon John a few years ago. He's losing to Diego Lopes. That one doesn't age bad. Like, it is what it is, right? But like,
he was a favorite in that fight too.
Exactly.
Think about that though.
Well, he's a favorite in this fight.
They have on him.
Like, the crazy respect here for me is you have an undefeated guy in Chepe Mariscal who's constantly undervalued. Would you agree? Like, the betting markets don't tend to like get behind him. And now you have Sabatini, who is stylistically a tough matchup for anybody who can't stop the takedown. But you have 73% takedown defense over a decent amount of fights for Chepe. Yeah, I love this fight just as much as you do. I was pointing to you. Are you the one betting the under here? Under 2.5 has been kind of bet down to plus 114. I mean,
I'm telling you, Chepe is not. He is not just going to get stuck on his, because look, how does this fight go over, Mike? That's the question you have to ask yourself. How do you think it goes over? Because I don't think there's any world where these guys are on the feet for 3 rounds and there's not a finish. You know what I'm saying? I don't see how Chepe's like, oh yeah, there was no takedowns, nothing, and we stood for 3 rounds and it went to a decision. I don't think that happens. So if I don't think that happens, it's like, okay, well, if Chepe stops the takedowns, I think he finds a finish. If Pat gets him down, I think he could find a finish, because there's just not this fight is, they're going to keep going. Like, the one thing I hope doesn't happen is Chepe being offensive with his takedowns. I hope he doesn't do that, because literally all he has to do is, if he can stop the takedowns, he'll find a finish on the feet. I just hope because he's been in all of his fights, he's had offensive takedowns. I hope against Patty Sabs he doesn't try that stuff. Like,
he might
don't even do it. Just get him up.
He might try the clinch game against the cage to kind of cook those arms, cook everything, so then he can't get those takedowns late. That would be like the only path. And
he does really good work when he's like in tight. He's got nice elbows. He does really good work when he's in tight. But I'm saying, like, I don't want him shooting. I don't want him going for legs. I don't want him doing any of that shit.
Look at the control time. It backs your point up. Against a grappler, he has on pick 6, 1.5 minutes control time. We're not going to touch it. I'm just saying that's backing your point 100%. And then look, we have the underdog expected to have more fantasy points. That's kind of wild against the favorite in Sabatini, who is 69.5. Kind of telling, isn't it, that there's a lot of love for Chepe Mariscal, a lot of scoring ability on this slate, right? And I really would love to take the under 21.5 because he just doesn't throw enough. Problem is the over under 2.5. I think if it gets there, it very much correlates with an over 21.5, right? That's the problem.
Yeah, The funny part is Chepe has gone over that number for his strikes in every single fight, and it's still lower than his lowest. But I get how that goes under too, because if he stops one takedown, it could be an early finish on his way. I don't know. How do you want to go about the pick six side? Do you want to take a spot here? Do you want to take an under on Sab striking? And
I would love to, but I'm just let me take one more stab at Pat Sabatini. I mean,
we don't have to for pick six.
We're not forcing. It's a
we
great
don't have
card.
to go with this fight. So
no, not at all. But I do think that it correlates with a finish too. The under on significant strikes for Sabatini. So whether he's getting finished or
Mike, you got the number right on screen.
Oh yeah. It was 73%. 73%. And that's a pretty decent amount of fights. And it's fighters that were going for takedowns, right? Like Jack absolutely was. And remember, he kind of threw him down.
He was out scrambling the shit out of him too.
Yeah.
Chepe's scrambling ability is elite.
I guess the problem is Morgan Charrier taking him down. I mean, that doesn't age great, but I'm sure that wasn't early in the fight. But yeah, again, I love this fight from a fantasy standpoint. We don't need to go here for pick six. And when it comes to ownership, like I said, if you slightly match the field or go over on Sabatini and he is the 105-point guy, you're going to look like $1 million. And I do think that Mariscal is going to be higher than the 25% ownership that I have.
So one thing here, I wanted to get to Mr. Jefferson, his take here. How is Valentin under 2.5 takedowns not a mortal lock? Minus 115.
I could tell you.
Honestly, if you don't like Valentina, then I love the under 2.5. If you're on the Weili side, because I will be shocked if Valentina is not going for takedowns in this fight. I think she's going to have to mix it up because the speed advantage, I think, is going to be on the Weili side. And we saw in the Grasso fight, what did she have, Mike? In the Grasso fight, she had what? 4 and 8 takedowns, I think, in those two fights. So she had 12 takedowns combined, and the speed was giving her issues. So she went to the takedowns. So it just depends on who you're on. If you're on the Weili side, I'm with you. I love it. I love the under. If you're on the Valentina side, though, you should like the over, I think. That's my take on it.
Yeah, it's sometimes as simple as just correlating the things together, right? Like,
right.
Does that make sense? Yes, it should, because it correlates to a finish. It correlates to a domination for Weili. We move on to a gift that continues to give, and it's whether you're on him or against him. It's GM3, Gerald Meerschaert versus Kyle Daukaus. Kyle Daukaus coming back into the UFC last time out as an underdog. It cost me a lot of money. I'm not going to lie, against Mikael Pereira. He gets that underdog plus 200 knockout, kind of a shocker on the overseas card there. But now he comes in as a big favorite, a minus 520. All of the money coming straight down in on him. So it is a concern for me. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking at this going, Kyle Daukaus should not be a minus 500 in the UFC. But he's going against GM3, who, if he's durable enough, can always put up a fight and submit anybody in the UFC. I think the durability is gone. Don't you? I mean, I don't know how you can back him with semblance of confidence. I think the deeper the fight goes, it might actually, the dirtier this fight gets, he might be okay as a play. But, you know, you're looking at a guy in GM3 who I have as 5% owned on this slate, against a Kyle Daukaus who's 30%. He's a little bit lower compared to some of these other 9K fighters. He's 93 on this slate. But is this as simple as Daukaus wins early by a knockout, or GM3 implements some sort of takedowns and finds some submission, control time, wins it down the stretch? Because DraftKings Sportsbook has the best inside the distance line right now on Daukaus. So if you like that, minus 120 is the best price. I like that. I just don't know. I can never get GM3 right either, personally, because it's not like he goes in there offensively wrestling. He kind of lets situations happen, then he'll reverse you, and then he'll take your arm, take your neck with you. So I can see the merit of playing both, but the problem is It doesn't take much to get over the field on GM3 at 5% owned, right?
No, it doesn't. The problem with GM3 is he's definitely washed, but he does make a lot of money still to go into the cage because he's had a billion fights and they love him. And I'm pretty sure he makes a decent amount to still go out there and fight. And, he still has obviously the skills, right? Especially in the grappling. But man, I just think he's overly washed at this point in his career. And to be a minus 500 to Kyle Dawkins, who does look improved and stuff like that, I think that tells you everything you kind of need to know. So, there's going to be some dogs on this card that I'll have some, strong takes on here. This is definitely not one of them. I feel like GM3's washed, but I do think another fight where we could do the fight finishes via submission. Kyle Dawkins has really good submissions.
Did you see this?
And GM3, obviously, that's his path.
The best price on the market is Dawkins submission, DraftKings Sportsbook plus 300. I mean, I look to try to bet.
I would just rather take the +2, whatever it is, for both fighters to submit. You know what I'm saying?
It covers both outcomes.
It just covers both outcomes. So I'd rather take a little hit on the +300, go down to, I forget if it's 220, 200, whatever it is, though. I'd rather take that. And I think it's a better side to the fight.
The least resistance. Absolutely. I think that,
I didn't see this from Matty Ice. I didn't see anything about his leg.
I did. I saw weigh-ins. I don't know what people are looking into, but he was kind of hobbling on either his right leg as he got off the scale or on the scale. Maybe he's got swag. Maybe it was his, his swag coming into play. But regardless,
if his leg's fucked up, hopefully GM3 gets him down, and then we just get grapple fuck for.
He's not going to leg kick him. He's going to throw the flim flam leg kick that kind of gets him off balance, and maybe he shoots a takedown. And honestly, I wish Dawkins was 15% owned, don't you?
Oh yeah,
he's the type of play to really, in a dominant performance, really look like $1 million for your fantasy lineups and just really pay it off pretty quickly. But yeah, definitely pick 6 wise, tight lines here as expected. It's funny, 99.5 is one punch knockout and he's there.
Yeah,
it's funny how that line is very accurate, but once it gets stretched out, what does it look like? I mean, Dawkins is going to have a volume advantage. It's just the problem is does it only take 15 strikes to knock out Mearshart, which is possible. Problem is, depends on what referee we have. Is it fight back, or is it's over one punch? That the subjectivity of our sport makes me very angry sometimes.
It is. I will say that part of it is tough. I'll give the referees a tough time, but I think they want to give these guys a chance ultimately to fight back. But at the same time, you got to try and keep them somewhat safe. So I think that is the toughest part of it. Now when a guy's tapping though, and a ref is looking on the wrong side, of the hand and they don't see it, that's when I'm like, okay, what the fuck? I forget which fight it was recently. We had that where the ref literally dropped down and he's tapping on the other side and the ref can't see him because he's down on the opposite side, looking, and his arms trapped on the side he's looking. So he can't tap with that arm, but he's on that side looking for. I'm like, okay, that's when you should know as a ref, you're just not in the right spot. But yeah.
I think it was Chris Tognoni, but
it was him. Yeah, that was the ref. Yeah.
I mean, come on, Chris. But anyways, I do actually like the over 99.5 personally. I would play that myself. And I'm going to tell you why. It's just as simple as Mearshart. We both agree he's probably shot minus 130 inside the distance. You've got paths to him even just out voluming him over 3 rounds. I like that over for Dawkins in this spot. Make sure you guys are smashing that like button, getting into our Discord, because you got plenty of sports to go in and talk about. I think Methuis here says, where's Big T on this huge card? Big T will be in our Discord. Make sure you're in there.
He is in the Discord. What do you mean?
Exactly.
He was in there.
Early.
He was in there bright and early talking about how he's so dialed in for this card and he's ready to roll. And he posted his little sheet with his bets, but they're in chicken scratch, like my handwriting, so you can barely read it. But if you can decipher what it says, there might be a few winners on that thing. So that's where Big T is.
Well, that's why you scribble, so
winner.
then you can claim you had the winner. That's smart, Big T.
No. That's actually not true with Big T. He scribbles because his handwriting is just dog shit. Just the reason I scribble when I write, that's why I don't write anymore, because my handwriting is just dog shit. It has nothing to do with one way or the other. It's just we suck at writing. So I don't know how Big T sucks at writing, though, because the dude literally has a pen in his hand all day or in his fucking mouth chewing a pen. Like, you'd think he'd be proficient, Mike, because he has that pen always in his hand.
I was going to say, if you got a pen in your mouth, that's just like a funny thing if you have bad handwriting, 100%. But yes,
he's like a fucking child just putting shit in his mouth for no reason. He chews that damn pen. Drives me nuts too. We'll be talking, and then all of a sudden I'll just see that pen go right in his fucking mouth, and I'll just be like, it drives me nuts every time he does it too.
Not a problem with that. Listen, everybody's got their thing, but what somebody does have is a little bit of a problem now that we have on this slate when it comes to Malcolm Wellmaker versus Ethan Irwing. And we have a big value for DFS purposes in Malcolm Wellmaker as a minus 470 on DraftKings Sportsbook at this stage. We have a plus 360 for Ethan Irwing. Like you were mentioning, he just fought a few weeks ago or a week ago. Wellmaker was supposed to have Hatton, but before that, he was supposed to have Sergey City. I think that City matchup was beautiful for him because he could have shined on the feet, which is surprising. I forgot that he had City first and then Hatton. Hatton was a tough fight. You were mentioning you were probably going to be on the Hatton side. I think that was going to be a very interesting play for fantasy purposes in leverage. But now we have Wellmaker as the clear value, 60% owned. And it's that, okay, give me the minus 500 guy at 8,400 on DraftKings. But he's got to be perfect, man. He's got to go in there. It's a bigger octagon. I'm not trying to make excuses. I think he's a great play in all formats. Minus 250 inside the distance line is a very, very strong one. But he's got to go out there and have a lot of volume striking. He's got to find that finish early. I think he can get by in a second round finish. So I therefore think he is a lock and load type of play. And I don't even know if I'm going to even have any Irwing. I mean, he's 6,800. He's the second lowest guy on the slate for ownership. I mean, if he's priced accurate, whereas Wellmaker's not. I think it's just a plug and play type of situation, and let the odds dictate me playing him at a high rate. I mean, how do you get away from Wellmaker?
Yeah, it's tough to get away from him. And in the way this Ewing kid fights, especially coming in on short notice, he's going to move forward. Like from what I saw, like he's going to move forward. He's looking to throw. He's looking to put you out. 7 of his 8 wins are by knockout. His only loss by finish was by submission, and he had another loss by decision. But other than that, 7 of his 8 wins were by knockout. So, this guy's coming in to finish you on the feet, and, Wellmaker is going to get his chances because this dude's going to move forward. He's got some power too. Like he's got some pop. His striking's not bad. I don't think this dude is terrible. Now, is he Cody Haddon? No, he's not. He doesn't have like the well-rounded game that I think Cody Haddon has, but is he good enough to be in the, like, is he UFC caliber? He might be, honestly, Mike. I think he's pretty solid. It's just the short notice going up against the dude as talented as Malcolm Wellmaker. But I will say one thing. I think he's tough. I kind of like the more on the significant strikes because I think this kid is tough enough to kind of get through, Malcolm Wellmaker, even if it is, he's taking a beating, but I kind of like the over here. So what do you think about the over?
That was one of the first numbers I was looking at from a pick 6 standpoint. We clearly don't have any statistical background on Mr. Irwig, but if he's going to be durable, like you said, that is a spot where I do like the over, because it's going to be combinations, right? I don't think Wellmaker's going out there with one hitter quitter type of mentality. This is a guy that is into the UFC, has a lot of hype. I mean, this is a guy that was going to be a favorite in any fight. He was a little bit tighter, obviously, against Haddon coming in there. But I mean, this is a welder, by the way. You know that my family business is welding supplies. Welders are tough dudes, man. They have big hands, you know, from using the welding rod, getting their hands dirty. And let's be honest, they got lungs for days. I mean, they're smelling welding supplies. It's not good. It's, you know, it makes you. I was worried. Chris Moitino, though, I mean, that's a layup. I mean, what would Ewig do to Moitino?
I think he'd put him out early too. So I honestly, I think he's solid. I just think Wellmaker is just a little more skilled, right? Just a little more seasoned, skilled, but like you said, toughness, you know, I think he's tough enough to get us over that 19.5. So I kind of like the 19.5 here.
Definitely. Yeah. No, a little frozen on my screen at the moment. We'll make that lag
good.
work. But anyways, no, I mean on my sharing of the screen.
Oh, on your share screen?
Yeah. No worries. It'll catch up. Yeah, I'm plugging Wellmaker in. It's the clear spot. I'm just taking it and running. These are the spots where, you know, 8,400, say he was 9K. You said that 9K range is going to be tough on this slate. I agree with you. That's when it gets interesting if it were the price for him on that spot. And I'm just not going to have any earwig on this spot. Regardless, we move on to the next fight of the night, where we see Erin Blanchfield versus Tracy Cortez. By the way, I'll go circle back on pick 6 when my screen share catches back up. Erin Blanchfield coming in as the favorite in this spot. She is a minus 278 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Tracy Cortez comeback is a plus 225. Almost any other slate, if I'm looking for some sort of value or some sort of win equity, I probably would want a piece of Cortez, because just because I think that she could keep it competitive, especially if it's on the feet. There's not going to be a high ceiling in this fight as a whole, as we can imagine, because it is expected to go to a decision, JSU. And when that happens, there's just not going to be a lot. I mean, it's going to be either grappling with a lack of, you know, hammering down, trying to go for that finish, or it's going to be, you know, just top position, right? They're just going to try to hold, like Blanchfield's going to try to hold her down and get that decision equity. What are you seeing here? Because I just think that I would love to pull the trigger on Blanchfield if I know she's going out there to finish. And I just don't see that happening.
Well, here's the thing. I think that it depends on, to me anyways, in this fight, it kind of depends on what Tracy Cortez's game plan is going to be. Because if her game plan is going to be kind of stay on the outside and just kind of use her boxing, and I think she might have better boxing than Erin Blanchfield. Mm-hmm. If her game plan is to use takedowns, though, she's probably going to get subbed, because anyone who, you know, shoots on Erin, I think is going to have big issues, because Erin's grappling is super high level. We saw in Tracy's last fight, you know, her back get taken, and, you know, yeah, did she ultimately win a lot of the wrestling and grappling exchanges in that last fight? Yes, but it was partially because her opponent got tired. Erin's a dog, you know what I mean? I don't think she's going to get, like, even when she gets tired too, she moves forward, she keeps going. So I don't worry about that at all with Erin Blanchfield. But Erin Blanchfield striking is just not very good. And I think Tracy has the advantage in there, specifically in the boxing. So if she keeps it at like boxing range with like you said, a big cage, I think she could win this fight just 3 rounds. If this fight stays standing, I think I lean Tracy in that scenario here. So I hope she doesn't shoot a takedown. I'm going to bet Tracy, because I think the odds are just a little too big. If she does shoot a takedown, though, Erin's probably rightfully a big favorite, because she's gonna end up winning that exchange, I think, and probably finding a submission there, because I just don't love like Erin's takedowns. You know, we've seen her struggle at times. Tracy's strong. You know what I mean? So I think if her goal is just defend and get back to striking, I think that's how she wins this fight. And I think she can do that. So I'm a huge Erin guy. I bet on her a lot. This is one spot though. I just feel like the value is on the Tracy side. And I'm going to take the value here. We don't have a ton of dogs that we got to sell ourselves on. I think this is one dog I can at least sell myself on with a path.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. And the problem is for fantasy, even a decision win, we were talking about how the scoring is going to be 100 plus. You're going to be looking for winners that can score 90 to 100. You're going to need so many things to go perfectly if you're playing a Cortez as an underdog. And, you know, the scoring for Blanchfield on pick 6 is 85.5. And that's a tight line because her style is pretty fantasy friendly and obviously always has the takedown advantage in her fights. I'm seeing offshore here minus 220 to have most takedowns for Blanchfield. Do you agree? I mean, that's a pretty tight line there. I mean, I would imagine in any other fight, she's like minus 500.
Yeah. Well,
they just know that
tells you though that they might be also a little worried that Tracy might go out there and try and use her wrestling a little bit too. So, yeah, no, I mean, she probably will have most takedowns, but you know, Tracy's had the only thing I go back to, and the reason why I think she might employ this game plan, Mike, was if you look at all of her fights, the one fight where she only had one takedown attempt, didn't get it, but she only had one takedown attempt, was against Jasmine. And why? And she won that fight because Jasmine had way better wrestling. Jasmine was the better wrestler by far, and she knew that was the path. So she only went for one. If she's only going for one in the whole fight, I feel much better about the Tracy side. But if she's going for multiple, she's going to have issues because Blanchfield is going to win the grappling exchanges eventually. And then once she gets in a good spot, she's going to probably find or have a good chance to find a sub. So, I mean, plus 500, if you're on the Erin Blanchfield side and you really like her, plus 500 submission is always a look with someone like Blanchfield. I'm going to trust Tracy's durability here that she can somewhat stay safe.
I mean, did you see the interview with Nina? And she's like, oh my God, what's his name is the main event? She goes, Islam's the main event. And Tracy goes, what? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
what the hell are we doing here? Is this CTE? I mean, what the fuck?
You're literally on the card. You're like I didn't know that was the main event.
Oh man, it's something, right? Marketability is a beautiful
Who'd you
thing.
pick in this fight? Who are you picking?
I like Cortez as an underdog. I agree with you. I hate when we're on the same. I wish I could argue a little. I probably would go a path of least resistance. I don't hate the stab at a plus 225 from a betting, but I do like the plus 3.5. She could just win around, you know, with a late takedown, with the optics of the striking in a round. So that's a path of least resistance for me. The plus 3.5 is minus 165. So I'd go that route. I did like that breakdown by Daniels. I was reading that out of the corner of my eye. It is just slightly under. And we're both saying that Tracy can win this fight. And I think even if Blanchfield gets top position, she could just look for position over submission and position over, you know, compounding the score, right?
Yeah, she could. I mean, her grappling is so good though. Like, yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked if she went for it a little bit.
At home.
At home, trying to show off. She wants to get the finish, I'm sure, right? But yeah, I like Daniel's breakdown a ton. And 82.5 or whatever at 9,100 is just, it's not getting it done even in a win, or 9K, whatever, 9K. Bo's 9,100, but yeah, 9K. It's not getting it done. So yeah, I think you need that finish. Because like 2.5 takedowns, like if you gave her 3 or whatever, like that's a good amount of takedowns. Like, I don't think she's going to be like spamming takedowns against Tracy Cortez and getting them. Like, I don't think she's getting 5 or 6 much. So 2 to 3 in a win where Erin is clearly winning, I think is very fair. And if it's only equaling out to somewhere around that,
I mean, it's also level. Both of these ladies are technically stepping up, right? Like this
and whenever you get those level step up fights,
it's just
they're always tighter.
Yeah.
So for pick 6, I would go 2 sides. I would either go the less than for Erin Blanchfield and hope it's just, even in a win, it's just a closer, maybe split decision style, and you get that 82.5 like Daniel put out, or the more on significant strikes for Tracy. Because I think if we like Tracy, I think the way she wins is just striking. I think it's purely striking, and it's 3 rounds, because I don't think Erin's tough. I don't think she's finishing Erin in the striking. So that means we're going to get 3 rounds of, standing up on the feet. So
but which fight metric guy is going, ha ha ha, I have Erin Blanchfield in my lineup, plus. That's the problem. Or Cortez. I highly doubt that they'd be playing Cortez though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have a little bit of Cortez just because there's not many plays in that range, like 7,200. Sure. There's just not many plays to get to. So I'm going to have a tiny bit. Where did I end up on her? I got 20%. So I'm over the field.
That's double the field. I'm seeing her at 10% Blanchfield as well at like 12%, just slightly over her ownership. But we are halfway through the card at this stage, and make sure you guys are smashing the like button, getting into the Run Pure Sports Discord, and signing up. I mean, we've got all the sports for you, right? JSU, I mean, baseball just ended. A lot of winners in baseball this year, but tell me about what we got going on here.
Yeah, I mean, we got both college sports are rolling right now. College basketball, Stevie Boynton, Gavin, those guys do a great job. Every single slate, they got you covered, posting winners, DFS, all the news and stuff. That's why you got to be in the Discord. You get those bets right away, right when they post them. They add everyone. Same thing with DFS news. If a guy is in or whatever, some guy they're taking out of their core or whatever, the quickest way to do it is being in the Discord, having the alerts on. Same thing with college football. Everything's fluid in college football, and no one does it better than Bruce when it comes to the guy's projecting every single fighter. And in college football, that's just insane. And he does it all himself. So, he does great work. And, you got Big T, Schlong, bunch of other guys doing college football, great college football
showdowns.
Players. So,
man, showdown winners just every single time I open up Twitter. It's showdown. I mean,
NBA has been hot, man. We had our boy Chef Frank, who we saw in the chat a little earlier 2 days ago. He won 100K. We've had a bunch of good screenshots in the Discord the last week or so. So
reminds me,
NBA's been crushing it. All these sports are going on right now. This is like the best time. You still got NFL. This is the time. Sign up now. You can even, if you want a little first time promo code, you can slide on in Big T 44 DFS on Twitter. You can hit him up in DMs and he'll hook you up with a first time little promo code if you want to get in and sign up. So check it out.
While I'm introducing Rodriguez and Kopylov, there was a guy, I can't remember, in our Discord, 40K winner on UFC last week, using basically the exact thing that we said on this free show. So we love giving that content out, giving winners. It's definitely a great time to sign up. Well, we are halfway through the fights, and we have 2 5 rounds, and we're only at 1 hour and 10 minutes. We might be able to make this show under 2.5 hours. And we go to Gregory Rodriguez versus Roman Kopylov. We have Gregory Rodriguez as a -185 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Come back on Kopylov, a +154. Man, I can see this going many different ways. I think this is a pressure point of the slate, because when it's a competitive fight, when it is a fight that makes for action, and Obama comes in here, Gregory Rodriguez, and goes for it, he makes for scoring chances. And I think that, Kopylov is a guy that people don't tend to want to get behind. I'm not entirely sure why either. It's a guy who fights to take your head off. We've seen it time and time again. The over-under on this fight, over 1.5 rounds, is a -154. So they do think it gets a little stretched out. But, I mean, Gregory Rodriguez is just a scoring monster for DFS purposes. I think there's a knockout here. I think it could be early. I think it is early. I think the under in this potential fight is a great play. What are you looking at here? Because I see Rodriguez coming in at 30% owned. I think Kopylov is a great leverage play at 20% because we've seen Rodriguez get finished and kind of struggle against power strikers. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting because we're going to get the fight we want. And it just comes down to the durability and toughness of these guys. If you remember out 2 fights ago when Gregory Rodriguez fought Jared Cannonier, Gregory Rodriguez was absolutely teeing off on Jared Cannonier for a long time. He was winning the fight, and he pretty much just kind of gassed himself out. He had multiple knockdowns in that fight. That's his style right there. And then in the 4th round, he gets finished by Jared Cannonier because Jared Cannonier is he's in amazing shape. He's tough as hell. He took a beating early and then withstood the beating and found a way to push through it and get the finish. And, Gregory Rodriguez is, I think he embodies the killer be killed mentality more than almost anyone else in the sport of MMA right now. That's just his style. He's going to go out there, kill or be killed, and he's going to put on a good show, and he's going to hunt for those finishes and stuff like that. So it's going to be the pressure of Gregory Rodriguez. Can he pressure Roman Kopylov, who Roman's got he is very dangerous in his own right. He's got really nice kicks, sneaky kicks. He likes to kind of stay at that kicking range too. And Gregory Rodriguez wants to just pressure you. He wants to get through that kicking range. So I think it's going to depend. The bigger cage definitely helps Kopylov a little bit to use his footwork to stay, in the range that he likes. But I think we find a finish in this fight either way here. So I do like the under in this fight. I think Mike was talking about that a little bit. And, it's just going to kind of depend on, can Roman Kopylov withstand the early onslaught of Gregory Rodriguez? Can he do it here? I think it's going to be the first time too Roman Kopylov kind of experiences the type of standing pressure that he's going to get from someone like Gregory Rodriguez with the type of power that he has. So it'll be interesting to see this fight. I do think it finishes though. I think it's a good fight to target for DFS. I think Kopylov is a good dog to have in DFS because I do like the finish here. And yeah, I'm going to have, let's see right now. I'm definitely going to have a piece of both these fighters.
Don't you worry about a decision because I think a decision, it falls off a cliff. I think you do have
a decision is probably not getting there unless Kopylov is getting there in a decision. I don't think it's a decision though. I think the way it fights is going to, like I said, Kopylov he's had a lot of success getting finishes later in fights. So I think it's Gregory Rodriguez early. If the fight finishes early, it's him. I think if the fight finishes later, though, it could be Kopylov. So I'm not going to be shocked if either guy gets the finish. And I do think we get it. So I kind of like the under here. And yeah, the sub, I bet the sub prop. Sub is live for RoboCop. I wouldn't be shocked if he went to the grappling. You could definitely get Kopylov, I think, with the grappling, especially G-Rod, who, if he's not getting the success he wants on the feet, can go to the grappling, and he does have.
He doesn't. He's really, so good.
Really good grappling.
He's really, really frustrating when it comes to once he gets that top position, he'll just fucking throw hammers, and you're like, go for the submission. The neck is right there, and he's just fucking teeing off. How many times have we seen that? We've seen him get top position and just tee off. So I do think that if you're looking to bet one of the inside the distance, DraftKings Sportsbook, best odds out there, plus 225 if you think Kopylov gets it done late, the binary type of situation that JSU says, and I concur. I think it's a good one. And if you like Rodriguez, a plus 130 best line out there on DraftKings is a good line. Let me see what that submission is, man. I mean, that's got to be a decent number, right? For Rodriguez?
What, the sub?
Yeah.
I forget what I hit.
He's lagging behind. My apologies.
No, you're good. Was it plus 450? Let me see what I bet it at. Because I did bet that.
That's one of those lines. If you bet through his career by submission and just blindly do it, I bet you it's a plus EV bet because every time it's like plus 300, plus 400.
Yeah, the problem is he's always going to go first for the knockout. It's always the secondary thing to go for.
Remember when his nose was split and he just continued?
Plus 450. I got it at on DraftKings. So
awesome. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit more lag on the screen share, but yeah, pick 6 wise. Tight lines on the fantasy points. What are you seeing? Anything? I mean, the significant strikes.
Problem
is it gets stretched out. That number's terrible. If he gets the finish, it probably is less. That's just how it goes with Gregory Rodriguez fights.
Like any of those lines. He should wrestle. I agree. I agree with Billy. He should wrestle. I just don't know if we can trust that he will wrestle is the problem. That's the one thing. But I like the bet. But if anything, I guess it would be the more in the fantasy points.
I love this question in chat. Camilo or Rodriguez? These are why we try to break things down for you.
I think Rodriguez has more.
I think Rodriguez is a slam dunk. He's about 5 to 7% lower owned.
More on fantasy points then.
I mean, I'm high on him as well. I just think it's a great spot. Plus 130 inside the distance line for him covers both outcomes. I think that's a really strong play as well, personally. I know people have said in chat multiple times that Kopylov hasn't been finished. I'd have to double, triple check it. I believe you.
So that's why we're going to get a knockdown, because Gregor Rodriguez is the knockdown guy, and then he's going to jump on his neck. Where is it? Billy was talking about it. 8-time BJJ black belt champ. He's gonna find the sub.
Yeah, plus 450.
Because you guys are right. He's tough. He's a Russian. He's probably not getting cold knocked out. That means he might get dropped, and then he might jump on his neck or something like that and get a submission. I like it even more. See, chat coming around.
I mean, listen, I've said it earlier on another fight, potential club and sub. Those are the spots where you can get some nice numbers if they end up going to that mat. And maybe even though they're not the best jiu-jitsu guys, this is a guy who is a jiu-jitsu ace who will just submit you right then and there like Rodriguez. Just definitely a fight I am very much interested in. We move on next to the comeback. The man is back. Bo Nickal versus Rodolfo Vieira. He gets kicked from the main card down to the featured featured prelims here. He's a -205 favorite. Bo Nickal versus Rodolfo Vieira. He comes back at a plus 175, plus 170. I'm going to let you break it down right away because I've got some interesting thoughts from fantasy standpoint, at least.
Yeah, but my point was less about takedowns and more about using the strike down to get him striking to get him down, because Kopylov is so tough. So
a knockdown.
In Fluffy, it's different with Fluffy, because Fluffy, you just know he's just going for the takedowns. That G-Rod is not just spam. He's not going to spam takedowns. Like, he's going to use his striking and really set it up, and probably with like a power shot gets him hurt before he even goes to a takedown or a level change or anything like that. So that's more what it is. It's different than Fluffy, I think, in what we saw.
Fluffy utilizes pace, whereas Gregory Rodriguez,
he literally just wants to get a hold of you and grind. That's Fluffy's game, right? He's just a grinder. He's going to get a hold of you, and he's going to eventually melt you down to the ground.
Well, yeah,
he doesn't care about not getting the first, second, third, fourth, fifth shot. It literally is just like, I know eventually my pace and pressure is going to wear you down.
And I'm not being rude by saying Gregory Rodriguez utilizes violence, right, to get his game plan, whereas Fluffy utilizes pace and grind. That's two different styles. Both can be very successful. But this Bo Nickal fight, man, is a pressure point of the slate because I think people are going to want to go back to the well. My ownership's coming in significantly low on Bo Nickal here. I don't know why I'm seeing him like 10 to sub 10%, 9,100. This is a guy who prototypically was the monster when it came to fantasy.
I can answer it.
Yeah,
I can tell you why.
I know you can.
In fantasy, this guy beat Pickett, Woodburn, and Brundage, where he scored 100 plus, right? After that, Paul Craig, win, 51. DeRitter, loss, he quit, 15. People see that and they go, okay. So right when this guy got a step up in competition that wasn't Cody Brundage, Val Woodburn, short notice, like, okay, right away, bad score. And what did we see too in those fights? It's not just the bad score, it's what we saw. Paul Craig, what's Paul Craig known for? His grappling. So what did Bo do? He said, I'm just going to strike with this dude for 3 rounds. Well, that ain't getting us there in DFS. The way Bo Nickel gets us there in DFS, we want takedowns. We want volume takedowns. We want the wrestle-heavy approach for DraftKings. And when he started to get that step up in competition, he went away from that. He tried it against DeRitter. DeRitter had the counter wrestling and grappling to withstand it and to get the finish. And what is Vieira known for? Vieira is known for his grappling. And we've seen when guys are known for their grappling, Bo Nickel almost slightly abandon what he's best at, which is the wrestling. And that just doesn't score well enough. So at 9,100 for Bo Nickel, I think it's another case where I'm probably going to fade this 9K fighter. And I feel like I'm just fading a bunch of takedowns. And I just don't know if that's going to be his game plan against Vieira. And
well,
I think
the game plan could be
tough.
Take him down, because Vieira slows down the deeper the fight goes. So I'm going to counterpoint you, because I think the deeper this fight goes, the more Nickel can shine, because we've seen it before where Vieira is he's all muscle. Everything the guy does, he's jacked, right? So if he can cook him and he just throws him down, gets the 5 points of the takedown, lets him back up, hell, once he's cooked, he's not going to throw a lot up from the bottom. If he's starting to feel a little bit of trouble, get back up. I think the price is a little bit prohibitive, right, at 9,100. I agree with you there. But at single-digit ownership for a guy who has absolutely been a monster, and this is a bounce-back spot. UFC is saying, here's a challenge, okay? You've got a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ace in front of you who lacks striking. I think Bo Nickel has the power striking here to get the job done. I'm liking the spot the more I'm uncovering that he's going to be potentially single digit. What do you think he comes in at, Bo Nickel? And obviously the ownership's on Vieira at 30%.
15%. Bo Nickel.
And I think that might be steep. Like the more higher dollar or single entry, it's probably going to be less, right?
If Bo gets 4 takedowns, he's probably scoring good. 4 takedowns is plus 450 on DraftKings.
I'm taking that.
If you think he's getting 4 takedowns, you better be going and betting the ladder on Bo Nickel, because 3 is plus 215, 4 is plus 450. I don't see a line. I assume it's 1.5. What do you think the 1.5 line is?
I'll check it out on my phone in a second. But the reason I'm saying this is Vieira has been cooked by a lot of people in the past. Where was the So I guess he's getting more
Vieira's takedown line at 2 is plus 300, which I don't think he's gonna take down Bo Nickel.
Well, look at the takedowns, the defense for both of these fighters, and statistically on UFC stats, they're both 100% takedown defense. So you're going to get plus money on either of those. But we really have to break it down to the striking, right? Like Vieira is not good on the feet. I think that he can get
Bo Nickel good on the feet.
No, but he's got power striking. What does Vieira have? Like one hit, he's going to throw from the hip.
I mean, dude, Bo Nickel has went to a decision with Paul Craig.
That was a smart game plan, was it not?
I mean, Woodburn was a short notice. You know, they handed him something there, and then he sub pick. I mean, like, what are we saying? He's actually got way better striking than Vieira. Like, yeah, Vieira's striking's not good. He gives you chances, but I don't know if Bo's striking is that much better. I don't know. Maybe Bo is better than we think. I think we saw like level. I think we saw the levels where Bo can crush and where he can just win. This might be a level where he just wins, but it's not what you want in a win, is more my point.
I understand that 100%. So pick 6 wise, I imagine you're not going to like a lot of stuff, considering you're a little bit more on the Vieira side.
Actually, I do like stuff. I think Bo over 26.5 significant strikes.
Yeah, that's got me. That would be correlated to over. Let's look at the over The over is minus, and it's been steamed. I'm backing your point here. Minus 166 over 2.5 rounds correlates very damn well with your significant strike.
Because my whole point is Bo isn't, at least early, I don't think, while Vieira's fresh, isn't going to be shooting as much. And if he's not shooting as much, he's probably striking. Like you said, Vieira's striking is bad. So he probably thinks, like the Paul Craig fight, I can wait until this guy gets tired. And then when he gets tired, then I'll grind on him and I'll get him down eventually. I'll ride him until I get him down and then finish him from there. So, or put him down from there. So I think that's why I lean the over still, because I do think it plays out more on the feet than everyone in their head would suggest.
Yeah, and I got to be honest that I would rather have Bull Nickel at minus 130 type of money line than the minus 210 that we're dealt, right? Like, I just look at it as a situation as a guy who has been closing as a minus 650 in most of his fights, if not higher. And now you're getting him at a minus 200. I think it's a good opportunity. My 5 to 10 to 15% ownership is holding me back because of price on fantasy. And yeah, we both agree we like the over.
This is definitely a decent point. Vieira isn't
correct.
I wouldn't say great. I would say he's not as good as Paul Craig off their back. Paul Craig is really dangerous, like you said, off of his back. So I don't know if we're like supremely knocking him because he's not Paul Craig dangerous off his back, but that's a good point. And if you think that it's as wide as you say, then go and hammer those takedown lines, because 3 takedowns for plus 250 should be insane to you.
I'm currently just staring at it, hovering it for the end of the show.
What did you say the 1.5 line was?
1.5 was minus. Oh, wait. Takedowns? I didn't even look at that yet.
Oh, okay.
But we'll get there. Let me introduce the next fight of the night, where we start on the main card here, where we see Benoit Saint-Denis versus Beneil Dariush on DraftKings Sportsbook, a minus 192 favorite for Benoit. Dariush, the only guy to miss weight, is a plus 160. The Marauder, BSD, the man that comes in there, looks for violence, goes to take you out. But isn't this a great stylistic matchup? Because Dariush can take over a fight late. I mean, he literally is known to do that. He did it the last fight out, had some trouble against Moicano. It's not the best look in the world. In some of those spots, maybe Benoit could have finished him. But I think the deeper this fight goes, it starts going towards Dariush. Problem is, can he survive GSU? That's the big thing. I mean, missing weight, I think, is a bad thing for him. Whereas typically I would say, oh, maybe he can stop the takedowns. It might just take 1 or 2 takedowns. And that stylistic BSD fantasy scoring is always going to be there. I mean, you look at the inside the distance lines for these guys, you're looking at Dariush at a plus 330. Best line out there, DraftKings Sportsbook, multiple on this slate. JSU. I like the plus 100. It's a nice line there compared to other books being minus 115 and elsewhere.
Yeah, this is a very interesting matchup because Beneil's strengths, if he can survive the onslaught early, one thing you notice about BSD's fights is he's always going to his takedowns in fights. Like, he'll move forward, he'll throw, and then he'll throw heavy. He'll sometimes have you hurt, and then he'll just level change. So I don't know if it's like instinctively, but the one thing Beneil is elite at is scrambling. So I think Beneil should really be trying to get the wrestling and grappling exchange to go, even if he's got to initiate it first or whatever, because if they get into scrambles, I think Beneil is going to win. Beneil is elite at scrambling. We saw him in the Renato Moicano fight, out-scramble him. And Moicano put BSD on his back early, and BSD, he just got teed off on for an entire round, and it eventually won Moicano the fight because BSD had just a gnarly, I forget if it was a cut or his eye was shut, I can't remember, but he got gashed by some elbows because BSD wasn't settling. So he was giving Moicano chances to like tee off. So, I know if it goes that way and they get to the ground, I trust Dariush. If BSD is not shooting though, I think that's better. He needs to just like keep it on the feet because Beneil can get chinned, he can get put down, and we've seen him kind of like go to the wrestling when that happens. If he just keeps it on the feet, I think Benoit can win this fight. But I'm going to lean the Dariush side. I'm actually surprised the line isn't like kind of bigger for the BSD side with the weight miss, like minus 192. I think Beneil has real chances to win the fight. Like I said, if he doesn't get put out early, BSD starts to slow down. Beneil kind of dogs through it and gets to his grappling. I think that's his path here. And I'm going to take some shots on it. But for DFS, the upside to score big is definitely the BSD side. But from
over
a betting
one
angle,
takedown.
I'm going Dariush.
What do you think that over one takedown Benoit Saint-Denis is?
Just one?
Just one takedown for him. And it's going to blow your
minus
fucking mind.
160, minus 180?
Yep, minus 175.
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of...
He's going to go for a takedown. He always does, I feel like.
I'm trying to see, is there ever a bust? I mean, obviously the home crowd, I mean, he's not home now and he's healthy, right? Like I think didn't he have staph or some bullshit in that Moicano fight? Like at home, it was really, really bad. But he's healthy here. I mean, outside of a fluke knockout, I'd be surprised at minus 175. That might be a parlay piece for me, honestly. Like that's pretty interesting. Yes, breakdown of the fight. I think you nailed it. The deeper it goes, it's going to swing towards Dariush. It's one of those live. Benoit Saint-Denis is going to be one of those live bet guys. You're going to see him come out hot. You're going to know what's going to happen in the back end of the fights. He's a very opportunistic guy that's going to go for a kill.
Him, how don't you like him by KO? I think if he wins, I think he's winning by finish, and I think he's winning early.
Because he does like to go for the back. He kills you with the pressure from top position.
Yeah, but if he goes for the back, we trust Dariush to not get
Dariush will do the right thing, but I don't know if I want to trust that when they're dry.
That's what I'm saying, though. So I'm saying, like, if he goes for his grappling, I think that's how he could lose the fight. I'm saying if he wins, and he wins by dominant fashion like we think, or like people think, then I'm just betting the KO, plus 140 or whatever it is a good bet. You know what I mean? I think that's how BSD wins. I think he wins. I think he wins early. Like, what's round one finish? It's got to be like, what do you think? Like plus 300?
What, for each guy or?
No, just for Beneil.
Oh, for Beneil, it's round one is plus 650 on DraftKings Sportsbook.
That's what it is, plus 650?
It is. Dariush round one.
I like that. Even though I'm gonna probably lean Dariush. I think if I'm betting anything with BSD, it would be something like that. And also, if he wins, he's just running through Dariush and he's putting him down and he's putting him out.
You could go to the fight parlays, and I'm sure he's got the 1-2 combo. You know how they do that, and then they do the 3 decision. That's another way to kind of slice up the pie and cover yourself if Saint-Denis does gas out. I just think this is a great fight. I do worry for fantasy. Do you worry a bit? I do, because I think the ownership's going to be here, right? Saint-Denis is going to be 30%. I think it'll be higher. People love to get themselves some. Dariush side of things is going to be 15%. He's a great leverage point, right? Is he not one of the better leverage on the slate? He's kind of in that same boat as the Morales, who we'll talk about. No, not really Chepe. I guess Kopylov, right? Kopylov, Dariush, Morales, right? Those are kind of the same 15 to 20% owned that could kill off some of the higher owned guys.
Okay. BSD is 240. I was going to say, round one is 240. Beneil's got to be 640 or 650. Or whatever.
650 Beneil. You asked Beneil.
Oh, no, I said BSD. BSD. But that's all right. 240. That's all good.
Yeah, 240 and
Armin got Dariush out in 64 seconds. BSD can trick. Don't be putting Armin's name in BSD in the same thing here. Armin's putting BSD down too. He's putting him flat on his back, and he's he's destroying BSD. So let's not do that. Let's not do that MMA math here. But yes, he could finish him quickly. That's for sure. But let's not do the BSD and Armin stuff. So we're not going there.
He fights next week. We'll talk about him in about a week's time. But yeah, I'm just gonna last thing. These are the important fights of the slate, right? Like we were just breaking down BSD, Camilo, Rodriguez, Brady. Those are the fights that are going to make or break the slate, especially with what you mentioned. If you think that none of the 9K guys pay off, this is the meat and the potatoes of the fight slate.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Less about Armin and more. I was going to say, like, BSD against Armin be like the easiest thing. And Armin would win easy, too, because BSD, whenever his striking's not working, he just relies on his wrestling and his grappling. That fucking game plan's not going to fly against Armin. We like Armin's winning those battles. Armin's winning all those grappling and wrestling exchanges. Yeah, if he can win against Charles Oliveira, he's winning against BSD.
Takedown market. I said Benoit was minus 175. That's not going to be there. You got to go to bat for your guy, right? Like Armin's not even on the slate, dude. Is it just MMA math? Is that what's bringing him into?
No, it's the Armenians. It's the Armenians. Yeah, we've had a bad run. I mean, Armin. Who was it? Was it Nina? She threw out Armin's back, doing whatever they were doing on the mat.
Isaac Delgarian.
Isaac threw the fight, obviously on purpose. And yeah, they're ruining the Armenian name. Armin, you gotta get it back. You gotta come out strong. You gotta show out next week. Do it for all the Armenians. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
The other Armin, Sarukian. No, what's the guy? Not the other guy. Petrosian. Also,
why'd you have to bring that up too?
Sorry, dude. I'm just saying. It's the only other guy I remember. Okay,
unreal.
Let's move on to the next fight of the night, where you said again, pick six. No, yes, no. I mean, I'm higher on BSD than other people. That's okay. I'll take
if you're high. You can take the more on fantasy points. We can click it, and then if we like something better, we can get it out of there.
I don't want to click that.
Okay.
Because if there's a little bit of resistance, that's going to be like an 80-point win.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I'm not going to be clicking it. But we move on to the next fight of the night, where you potentially have a good strong take in Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. We have Carlos Prates coming in as a favorite, minus 166. Money has been coming in on Leon Edwards. He is down to a plus 140. Long in the tooth, Leon. Like, he is a striker at heart against another striker here. And I think there's going to be a lot of love on this fight. A lot of people love themselves some Prates. I'm seeing him, though, at only 15% ownership. Leon Edwards is coming in at 10%. So I wish there was a lot more ownership here, because I would fade this fight 9 out of 10 times and hope it gets to a second round, a third round, potentially a decision, because when it's competitive on the feet, there's not going to be a lot to be had for fantasy. I think all of the finish equity is where your fantasy equity is from a finish. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah. Finish and finish somewhat early too.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. I'm pulling up the inside the distance and the over under here, but you had a strong take on Leon.
Yeah. So Leon, for me, I've had a good run with Leon Edwards fights. The second Usman fight I was my first biggest bet I ever made in MMA, because I was so confident in Leon Edwards as a dog. And then obviously he wins that fight. Couldn't believe he was a dog. And then we get the Bilal fight. I like Bilal. I bet Bilal. Wasn't one of my biggest fights, but I didn't like the matchup for Leon. Obviously, he loses that fight. And then Sean Brady, I was like, dude, Sean Brady is an absolute dog, and Leon Edwards is going to be the most frustrating person when Sean Brady's just in his face, constantly on him, putting that pressure. Leon's not going to like it. So that was my latest biggest bet I ever made in MMA, just on like one bet with Sean Brady. Guy just smashed. I've had a good feel with Leon win and losses, and I've been on the right side, I feel like, of the last few Leon fights. winning losses. And this guy just like whenever you think like, yeah, he's got it or whatever, he just doesn't do it. He just doesn't do what you want. And he's not going to go for it. And I think also it has to be said, in his last like 5 fights, he has fought primarily grapplers and wrestlers. And now he's going from that to fighting a guy in Carlos Prates that is just a straight killer. That when people stand with this dude, they get hurt. They get hurt really bad. You know, and obviously Leon is a fantastic striker in his own right. But and the big cage probably does help a little bit with him. But if Prates gets that forward pressure going and he gets in his range, I think Leon's going to have big issues here. So I'm on the Prates side. I do think stylistically it's a big switch up from what he's had to deal with till now. But I think Prates is legit. I think as a striker, he's as dangerous as they come. And yeah, I'm on Prates. I like him plus 175 to win by KO. And yeah, I'm not on the Leon side. Even if Leon wins too, what's the big upside scoring wise?
People are saying takedowns in chat. There is a war going down in our YouTube chat right now. He's going for takedowns. No, he's not. Yes, he is. No, he's not.
So you guys trust Leon Edwards to do something? You guys trust him to do a game plan? Seriously, come on.
I don't.
In every single Leon fight, everyone's like laying out how he wins, and then in the last 2 fights, I mean, fuck, even the Colby fight. That Colby fight, like that was a disgusting fight. He should have put Colby out easily. He didn't do it. Like he just danced around, touch against Colby Covington, a wash Colby Covington too, and he couldn't finish this dude. I don't care what anyone says. If anyone thinks they know what Leon Edwards is going to do, they're fucking lying. Yeah, maybe he will go for takedowns. I don't know how you could trust that, though. Like, yeah, is that his path? Sure. I'm not trusting Leon Edwards to do that. Couldn't finish a wash Colby Covington. No fucking thank you.
It's incredible how many fights he has, and he's got a 2.5 significant strike per minute. This is a guy you would imagine to be like 3.5, 4. Like he should be on a strong number right there.
That's what I'm talking about. Like he will never do it when you think he should do it. So if you think he should go for takedowns, he's probably not going to go for takedowns. But your chat's right that like it'd probably be good because Carlos Prates is that dangerous on the feet.
But do it at the end of a round. Do it to win a round on an optic.
Yeah.
Do hear the clapper and fucking go for it. Like that's the way that he could look like $1 million.
He needs to use it like, you know, he's touching like he normally does. And then when Prates is like, screw this, and he starts to like come in, he needs to just level change, catch him off guard or something like that. I'm not trusting it. I refuse to trust Leon Edwards. You guys want to put your money on it. That's fine.
So much time here. I'm going to hit 2 things quickly. A negative differential for Prates does not look good, but you know, when you're on your back against Ian Gary, those numbers are going to be inflated. That's the one fight that it really kind of backfired and made the stats go a little bit crazy. So don't look into that too like crazy here. And the final thing for me is, what is up with DraftKings Sportsbook giving the best numbers out there? Plus 165 inside the distance Prates. You liked the knockout. For an extra 10 cents, you can get the submission. You know, I'm just saying, you know, I don't mind paying an extra 10 cents. Do you?
No, you're right. It's dumb when it's literally dumb when it's 175 and you're talking 165 for the inside. It's dumb not to just.
Oh shit! What the hell? Look at this. Knockout is plus 175. Maybe you want to take that 10 cents to the bank.
Yeah, no, you're right. 65, 165 is definitely the way to go. I don't know.
I mean,
if I could bet $1 million on no takedowns here, it would be free money, Matty Ice. I mean, what's his takedown line? Is his takedown line like 1.5? What's the line?
Well, I'm just going to pull up most takedowns, which is just mostly offshore books, and it's obviously Edwards minus 1,200 for most takedowns, which is absurd. I'm going to try to find myself over to the sports book now to see what it actually is. It looks like The prop markets are open, and it is. Sorry for the stalling.
By
Leon
the way,
Edwards, 1.5.
Beneil is one takedown is minus 150.
Yeah.
I just saw that. What is it though? What's this line?
It's 1.5 for Edwards.
And it's
they didn't
what?
even give you a half. It's under minus 125. Under 1.5 takedowns.
Under 1.5 is minus 125.
Correct.
Okay. I don't hate that.
But I will just say, DFS wise, I wish there was more ownership here, dude, because I would just be fading it even more. And it's just because when you have two strikers like this, it's competitive. We talked about it multiple times. When they're moving up the food chain and they're at the higher levels, it negates itself for fantasy purposes. I think that this winner could potentially score 55 to 65 points in a decision. And I think that's a high outcome if Prates doesn't find a finish like we potentially think there might be. So lower ownership, I wouldn't be surprised with a Prates fluky type of knockout or a decision win for either guy. We move on to the next fight of the night, where we see Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. We have, I believe, Sean Brady coming in as minus 142 favorite in this spot against Michael Morales is plus 120. This is a fight where people are taking their flag and they're sticking it in, GSU. You're either all Team Brady going for takedowns, or you're Michael Morales going to knock his head into oblivion. A great fight. It's kind of very much similar to the Sabatini and Mariscal. Probably a little bit different because, you know, it's a higher risk fight. The winner of this one probably going to get a title shot after this. Brady being 8,500 on DraftKings, Morales being 7,700. I find it way easier to get to Morales in fantasy. I think he opens a little bit of salary up. We talked about that middle range being the juicy one. I think it kills off a lot of that ownership. If you are playing Morales, plus 300 inside the distance for him, plus 250 for Brady. I have a feeling if you like Sabatini, you're probably going to like yourself a little bit of Sean Brady, especially for DFS. Would that be an accurate statement?
I do like Sean Brady here, and is nothing against Michael Morales. Michael Morales is a beast, absolute monster in the cage. He's a massive dude here, and he's got a ton of power. So, you know, would it shock me if he found a finish? No, but Sean Brady is just a tough dude. I like the improvements he's made in his striking, and I think he's going to have a good game plan to give someone like Michael Morales some issues here. Just grinding him a little bit. Sean Brady is definitely by far the best dude that Michael Morales will have faced from a talent standpoint. So I'm going to lean the Brady side here. And I do think, like, you know, if Michael Morales isn't finding a finish, what's the, like, I think Sean Brady's like upside in DFS is definitely massively higher. He doesn't have the 5 rounders though. He's had the last couple fights. But I still think he has, you know, big upside to score well at 8,500 here. So, yeah, I'm on the Brady side, but, you know, you shouldn't just outright fade Morales. I guess, you know, he does have paths to getting there, and he's cheap. So,
well, doesn't he have to replicate the Muhammad where it just kept it on the feet? No takedowns for him, and it's just going to be shove him against the cage, shuck him off when he's trying to put those hips down.
I will just say, I think Sean's striking has improved since then. I think there's been massive jumps in his striking since then. So I'm not saying it's at the level, like Morales definitely has the advantage there. I'm just saying I think it's a lot better than that fight when that fight took place.
Just mitigate the risk on the feet, really, is what it comes down to. With a 7-inch reach advantage, Morales should just be working off that jab, scoring at distance. If he comes in, catch him when he's coming in. I hope he doesn't go for any flying knees or anything stupid, right? Because that's just going to put him down on the mat. I think it's going to be, he's down there for a while. I don't know if he's going to get back up. The other thing is, too, 89% takedown defense in Morales's takedowns. Kevin Giles, that doesn't age very well. I think that was an emergency one, if I'm not mistaken. Fugit was getting hurt in that first. He still got him early. But these are fighters that are getting early, right? Burns even got him down once. And that is what it is, I guess. You know, he still was emergency shooting takedowns. I just think if you're trying to grade the two grapplers in this, you know, Brady versus Sabatini, they're essentially the same play. And at 8,500 and 8,300 for Sabatini, either of these guys can easily get you what, 115, and that's through a decision or that's through a finish, right? JSU.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Just remember like the levels thing here, like we always talk about whenever we get like the step ups, they're always a little bit tougher to kind of get those smash scores. But you're right, like the people who have taken down Michael Morales. I will say though, like to give Michael Morales a little pushback on that. In the beginning, he was sometimes shy to like really go for it at times. So he'd kind of get stuck like staring. So it'd get him stuck against the fence sometimes. Like now, I think he's done a lot better job at kind of going for it at times. So I do think we got to put a little caveat on some of those takedowns. But yeah, I mean, it's not a stretch to say Sean Brady is by far the best person he will fight to date. So this is a massive step up for him. Whereas Sean Brady has been fighting high level guys, the last few fights. So, yeah.
And like you said, it's a big step up. But for the price tags, right? Either of these guys, very, very important for the context of the DFS slate. Anything you're seeing on this particular pick six? I love how the trap is, oh, you get 2x if Michael Morales gets takedown.
Takedown, yeah. No, thank you on that one.
I was just going to look at the totals. The total in this fight, over 2.5 minus 154. The thing is, there's value on that number. If you want to go the value route, I don't, because I think there very well could be a finish. But there is value if you want to be dealt a little bit of about 40 cents rather.
Yeah, if I was to take anything, it'd be an under on the striking. And I don't see one for Morales, and the only one I see is Brady. So it'd be less than on Brady for striking, and just hope for this fight to finish a little earlier. But yeah, no, I don't think we need to go there. We already got a few, and we still got 2 more fights left. So,
all right, I'd be remiss if I didn't say you seem to be a Sean Brady guy. I talk about my futures bets. What do I like? I like value at the moment. Sean Brady's plus 1,000. Michael Morales is plus 600. You're getting a good amount of value if you want to get a future for next year to be champion. Plus 1,000 is not a bad price tag for the favorite in this fight. That's
I like that with Sean Brady. I like that.
Might have to take a sprinkle. That number realistically should be closer to the DELLA Maddalena Rakhimov plus 500. So again, not saying he's going to be champion, just needs to get to that title fight by the end of the year.
It is interesting too, because like depending on who wins, it's like the styles would help the other guy. You know what I mean? Because like one style would be better against one guy and one style. So it'll be funny, like who wins this fight, who wins that fight, and see if they kind of match for an intriguing, fight.
Definitely. You talk about intriguing fights. There's none better than the co-main event of the evening here, where we see Weili Zhang stepping up to see Valentina Shevchenko, arguably the GOAT woman, minus 148 on DraftKings Sportsbook for Valentina. She opened the underdog. Is that right? Plus 120 on DraftKings. That's wild. I'm seeing on fight odds here. And we have Weili Zhang coming back at a plus 124. So the odds have flipped since they opened it up. We talked about this earlier. Somebody in chat was going crazy about Valentina takedowns. 2.5, got to take the under. I think she's the bigger girl here. I think she can impose her will a little bit all over the fight here. I think that it's going to be competitive. I think it is the best fight on the slate to target. I hate to say that because I think there are some crazy scores, but at 8K for Weili and 8,200, it's not going to take a hell of a lot for either of these ladies to do 90 to 115 type of score. And both of them should have scoring throughout the entire fight here. I really think it comes down to if there's a finish or not. You look at the total in this fight, it is minus 298 to go over 4.5 rounds. So they do think it goes to a decision. Outside shot of a finish, I think it would be flip a coin. I think either lady could have success. We've seen, Valentina struggle against the submission. I think there's a world where the submission could come into play. But I mean, inside the distance lines for these ladies, DraftKings Sportsbook, again, rinse and repeat, best odds on the entire board here. Plus 400 for Valentina inside the distance, plus 500 for Weili Zhang if you think it goes that route. How do you not play one of these ladies? This is the better fight of the main event because, I mean, if Jack Della Maddalena can stop some takedowns, the price tag, Makhachev 9,200 still has to be perfect. This is just price perfect. And you said there's 3 fights on the slate, the value in Wellmaker, a piece of this, and a piece of the main event. How do you zig when everybody's zagging, right? Isn't it you kind of forced into taking Weili? I mean, almost, if you want to get ownership, if you want to get a little different, because I think Valentina is going to be a first click.
Yeah. So out of all those fights, I think this is the best fight of the 3 that you just laid out there. If I were to pick one fight,
100%.
that was the number 1 fight. I said I had to get one of those 3 fights. Which one's the first one I'm throwing in? It's this fight. And I'm actually going the other side than most. I think a lot of people are on the Valentina side, which I totally get. This will be the first time I've bet against her. But like, I like Weili here. I think the speed of Weili can give Valentina some issues. We saw that with the Grasso fight that forced Valentina to go heavy into the wrestling game. And I think if Valentina wins, I think you're going to see Valentina with a good amount of takedowns here. But I think in a loss, like Weili, the speed on the feet, her counter wrestling, we saw it against Tatiana Suarez where, you know, she, outside of that first takedown early where they were dry and everything, which she found a way back up and she was flat on her back. After that, like Suarez had nothing for her. And every time she got in, Weili would reverse positions. She'd scramble, end up on top of her. She's very good at that. She's very good at kind of reversing positions. You know, when she's down, she has good control. So I wouldn't even be surprised if she brought some wrestling into Valentina just to kind of throw her off, keep her honest, level change a little bit. Even though Valentina is the bigger girl here, but I'm on the Weili side. I'm going to have more Weili in DFS, and I'm going to probably bet Weili, but this is the best fight I think on the board to target. 5 rounds. I think you get all 5 rounds too. So, you know, which is kind of good unless we get like a late finish. Maybe there's a late finish, but you know, I respect both these girls enough to say like I think they're durable enough to get through. So probably a decision, and I'm going to lean Weili, but I think it's a close one, and I wouldn't be shocked if it's a fight where we end up seeing a rematch because it was close.
I mean, that's ideal for the UFC as a rematch and very, very marketable. But I agree. I mean, if it ends up being scrambling and going for takedowns, I think it gets interesting for fantasy because it might stall out some. But I don't want to call this because I've said this before, but I mean, is there a world where both ladies scored very well over 5 rounds? I mean,
there is, but I'm not playing in that world. I'm pretending I'm not in that world.
You're not in that, but you acknowledge it exists. I mean, it takes, what does it take?
Exists.
What does it take though? It takes every single favorite to win.
Like I think there is a world where the loser gets 70 to 80 and the winner gets, you know, 90.
Oh, you mean exactly what Pick 6 is saying?
Yeah. Like I'm just gonna pray that doesn't happen.
Oh personally. Yeah, I mean, in cash, absolute mortal lock. I mean, I don't usually talk cash games, but if you're not stacking this fight, send me head to heads. Send JSU head to heads.
No, don't send me head to heads because I don't play head to heads. But you send Mike your head to heads.
That's fine. Anybody. But anyways, it's definitely the fight and it's the pricing. That's everything for me. What do you think about the opening line? I was very caught off guard by that. The opener being Valentina plus 120. All the money coming down on her, probably because it's the natural weight class, right? The sports books were saying Weili Zhang is favored here, moving up. It's probably exactly what you said. Speed. What does Valentina do? She kind of stays at distance. It's a bit of counter striking but she sneaky scores, dude. Like if you look at this history, it's like, from my knowledge, like she doesn't score very well, but she does, like because of these phantoms scoring, I guess,
Well, and the takedowns and the control time when she gets the takedowns, right? So she's definitely still like an all around fighter. When you watch her fight, you think like, okay, striker, stays at distance, counter, but she's been implementing a lot of takedowns and getting control time in a lot of her fights, which is also helping her scoring here. And like I said, I won't be shocked either way if takedowns are a big part of a game plan for these two girls, and kind of the winner of that game plan is the winner of the fight in a way.
Definitely. Yeah. We go from the best fight on the slate to the second best fight of the slate, the main event of the evening, where we see Jack Della Maddalena defending his title against Islam Makhachev, trying to become a double champion here. Islam a minus 298 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Jack Della Maddalena a plus 240. Is it as simple as takedowns? Islam, get in there, go for the takedowns, maybe keep it competitive on the feet. It should be competitive on the feet. I saw a couple people in chat saying they wanted to go Jack Della Maddalena in their lineups. I don't hate it, but the problem is the ownership is going to be there for underdogs, right? Like, he's going to be 20% owned. It's like there's a lot of underdogs that are significantly less than him. He can get stalled out from the takedowns. Islam coming in at 45% owned on this slate, 9,200. You talked about 9K fighters and potentially avoiding them. Is Islam Makhachev one of those guys, GSU?
Yeah, so first of all, out of those 3 fights, this is the fight I have the least of. I got 45% of this fight on my team. So this is the fight I'm going to end up being probably under on as a whole. And I do think the interesting part, what you said about, is it as simple as does Islam get takedowns? And I think in a way, yes, it's almost as simple as that because of 2 things. One, I like Jack Della Maddalena against Bilal last time out. Why did I like him? Because I thought, and this ended up happening, that Bilal was going to try and show off his striking a little bit. And I also knew that even if Bilal got JDM down, JDM was not as afraid of Bilal's grappling because it's not as elite from a danger standpoint, right? He's got control, but it's not dangerous. You saw in certain spots, especially at the end when he was tired and he was like giving Bilal his neck, trying to get back up to his feet as fast as possible. You got to be very fucking careful doing that shit with Islam, because this is like the opposite. Islam is extremely dangerous. If you go down, you can't just jump back up. You can't just do something stupid to get back up, because that's where he's just going to grab your neck, get your back, jump on a submission. The submission is way dangerous. The submission is way dangerous against Islam than it was against Bilal. Everyone knows it now, but even JDM knew it when he fought Bilal, and he had a really good game plan. There was actually some really good breakdowns, because I went back and rewatched this fight, and I forget, there was one guy on Twitter who did an awesome breakdown of like the placement of his hand and his elbow and when Bilal would go for takedowns and how he was immediately framing, because Jack likes to keep his elbows in really tight to his body. And then, even when he kind of shells up, you'll see like the elbows are there. And it's so like when guys shoot, he can immediately frame off the face and then start the defense like immediately on the takedowns and stuff like that, to not let them get fully around the legs and stuff like that, to have that hand in between and then work his defense from there. Whereas like other guys would be trying to defend like after Bilal would get, kind of the grips on him and get in tight, and then they'd be defending from the ground up. JDM was actually defending kind of off the rip because of where he was placing his hands. So one thing he's got to be careful of is the kicks of Islam. I think the kicks of Islam are going to play a big deal in this fight. Like the head kick is there. The way JDM holds his hands kind of tighter to his, when they're at distance, kind of tighter to his chest, worried about the takedown. The head kick's going to be there, and he's obviously got to worry about the takedown. But if JDM can stuff these takedowns, he's the bigger, stronger guy, I think, in that cage. He looks bigger more natural welterweight. I also saw George St. Pierre talking, and he said there's a difference when these guys move up, because even though the weight, like they get bigger, he's like, you still have to get used to having that weight and like work, like fighting with that weight. And he goes, the later the fight goes, it almost like wears on you a little bit because you're not used to fighting, these longer fights with the weight. So I think earlier in the fight, it's going to lean Islam. The later the fight goes, it's going to lean Jack here. And, I think the line does seem wide. So I think from a betting standpoint, it would either be for me Islam by sub, which I think is very live, or I think it would be just betting JDM on the money line here, which is what I did. But Islam by sub is the way I think this fight would finish here. But JDM's live. He's definitely live. He just can't do anything stupid if he gets on the ground.
That sub line is a plus 175 if you like it. Remember how many spots? I just have to satirically say that Basil Hafez, right? I mean, if Islam gets some of those spots, shouldn't he be finishing? And that's almost at any time in the fight, right?
There's a couple spots. The Bilal in the 5th round where he kind of turtled up and gave him his neck. Like, that's Islam's going to go for a Darce. He did that against Gilbert Burns as well, where he kind of was in a spot. Like, if he gives Islam those chances, like, Islam's going to jump on those chances to go for a finish. And, like I said, that's why I'm saying, though, the danger is so much more on the ground with Islam than it was with Bilal. So,
look at the push and pull over and under 3.5 rounds. It's been bet down a little bit but it's been push and pull back and forth because I think they know these are two guys that are going to come prepared and kind of negate each other, right? Hopefully. I mean, they're going to try to negate the takedowns if you're Jack, if you're Makhachev, maybe keep it competitive on the feet to try to get those takedowns, which stalls out the clock, right? I mean, that's what the odds are kind of indicating.
The one thing I will say about Islam is I don't think he's going to feel the need to show off his striking like Bilal did. Bilal went in there and his clear plan was to show people, I can box with this guy. Like, yeah, I got takedowns, but I can box with this guy. And he is a good boxer, Bilal, but he's not a better boxer than JDM. And I think he made a mistake there. And I don't think Islam's going to make that mistake from that standpoint. He knows. He said it before. He's like, yeah, I got good striking. People should know that, but I know I'm better at wrestling than everyone. Like he says, like he knows it. I don't think he's going to go away from that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I would be shocked if that 105 is not smashed in almost any bit of a win. Would you? I mean, look at his logs, look at the path of victory, the pace of fight. I mean, how does this thing bust? From a pure fantasy, from a pure betting, how does it bust? I mean, I think it's just competitive, maybe 3 takedowns, takedowns.
The way it busts maybe is Islam wins, but it's not a big enough score to outdo some of these other guys. Like, he gets like low hundreds, and a few of these high 8K guys or 9K guys get like 110, 115, something like that. Maybe a sub, Mike, but it's kind of early, maybe 2nd round sub where, like, he doesn't have a volume takedowns and a ton of striking because the 1st round they're kind of feeling each other out. I wouldn't be shocked if, like, the 1st round was the feel out round and then the 2nd round was like Islam goes for it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you were talking about the 9K range. I'm assuming Islam followed by Dawkins.
Yes.
My rankings would be Islam, Dawkins. I don't really love the Susakarov, but I mean, I guess I'd have to put him there. But I mean, now that I like Bo Nickel at his ownership, I'd probably put him before Susakarov and Klein maybe for outside opportunity, and by far the lowest to be Blanchfield in that 9K range.
Yeah, I'd have Fatima over Bo, and the rest, though, I agree with you.
Yep, we need one more pick for pick 6. So far, we have Camilo over 87.5 fantasy points, Dawkins over 99.5 fantasy points, Wellmaker 19.5 significant strikes, Gregory Rodriguez, 87.5 fantasy points over. Bo Nickel over 26.5 significant strikes. Anything else? I mean, I'm trying to remember what we were going back at.
Do we trust Jack's their ability not to be subbed? Because the more on significant strikes for Islam's probably getting there if we trust that.
Probably not, honestly, personally,
Yeah.
but because I mean, look at these single digits for Islam. I mean, I know it's in a different weight class, but it's like he's just
but you got to remember how many of those were early round finishes. He's had first round finish Moicano, first round finish Volk, first round finish Green, first round finish Hooker. A lot of those fights were, one round. JD is pretty tough. Like, unless he's just getting subbed because he does something stupid trying to get up, he is pretty tough.
Yeah, I thought we were hovering something else, if I'm not mistaken. Was it Cortez, maybe? No?
It might have been the Cortez Blanchfield fight. Pick the over on Cortez significant strikes.
Oh, bang.
Let's do it.
I mean, look at these VIP 20%.
Love that. Get them in there, man. You got a ton. Those are gonna expire. You got to start putting some in.
Yeah, I guess so. Jeez. We'll get the 100 on this. We'll do some of those ones later. Locking that in right now. Yeah, I mean, this is the card to be in. And I'm going to say, I agree with you. When it comes to breaking down the slate as a whole, I'm living in that middle range, just like you are. And I'm looking for leverage, okay? And I like the Michael Morales types, the Mariscal types of guys. And then I put in that second tier, the Kopylov, Borisev types. But on the other side of it, you're getting a Sean Brady at low owned. You're getting a Sabatini at low owned. Those are the two types of plays to differentiate yourself and get way high up the leaderboard, killing off those popular dogs. So, I hate saying taking both sides of a fight, but I think living in this middle range and leaving money on the table might be the way to go, JSU. Is that too wild?
No, that's exactly. I agree with you. That's what I'm gonna do, and I like the path here. I think we're on it. I think we got the right path here. So
I think earlier we saw, what was it? Somebody was saying Camilo or Rodriguez. I mean, those are fractional decision makings where you have to factor in the ownership, right? We both liked Gregory Rodriguez, and it's like for 5 to 8% lower owned for just $100 extra, I'll leave the 100 on the table to try to go there. I think that's a really strong build. And then how are you going to handle Wellmaker? Is it just as simple as a lock? I mean, it's one of those situations where 50 to 60% of the field is just auto clicking him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to jam that fight. So, if that fight busts, that's probably going to not be a great day for me. But yeah, I'm jamming it. So that's the way I'm gonna the fight I'm gonna be a little lower on just with the ownerships is gonna be the Islam fight, just because I can't jam all three fights. Like, I literally can't. So that's gonna be the fight I naturally have a little less ownership. Islam's expensive enough where maybe those 8K guys can somehow outdo it and kick him out of the winner, even if he has a decent score. So
I'm forcing myself to play Bo Nickel now. It's terrifying.
Get him in there. Get him in there.
Here's the thing. I mean,
JSU versus Mike. Bo Nickel.
Bo Nickel versus MAKHACHEV. I mean, I'm getting a guy at single digit versus half the field playing MAKHACHEV.
Yeah, no, I get it from the ownership standpoint.
All right, let's talk bets. I have a feeling we're going to be sprinkling some dogs, sprinkling some props. Give it to me, man. What do you were talking about some sub-only type props, some finished props. Looked like DraftKings Sportsbook had some awesome betting lines when it came to inside the distance for a lot of different spots that you and I both liked.
Yeah, sub-only prop, the Kyle Dawkins, Gerald Mearshart, sub-only.
Yep. It was the first one I opened. You're not even looking, and that was the first thing that I clicked. Dawkins inside the distance is -120. You can break it down either way. Sub-only.
DraftKings +200 for submission. So you get both sides. You get both fighters. If they win by submission, you win. It's +200. I like that as a fight. And then as like a as like a longer shot dog, I think Tracy has a chance here at plus 200. I kind of like that on the money line. I bet that. But yeah, his
You know
card's gonna
my
be awesome.
style. You see the style you're playing is you could buy back on the other side if Tracy became the favorite, right? So that's how my brain breaks that down. Like if she becomes a favorite, I can hedge out. But I would take the plus 3.5 for Tracy because I think that wins at a higher clip than the minus 165. You and I both.
I just want to be greedy and bet.
I know you do. I know.
225.
I know we have different styles. It's fine.
That's
We can
right.
both be profitable. You and I both liked under 1.5, I believe, Kopylov and Rodriguez. It's a strong play. Even just fight to not start the third round is probably a strong play as well. A little bit safer if you wanted to go that route of the side of things. I'm trying to remember what else I mentioned. That takedown ladder for Nichols.
Patty Sabs, we liked under, or I liked under 2.5. Yeah.
I mean, that's just a great fight in all formats, whether it be betting, whether it be fantasy. We love that spot. DraftKings Sportsbook, a plus 114 under 2.5 rounds, and that's Sabatini and Mariscal. You and I like the sprinkle on Klein submission, right? I mean, I guess you might want to just say inside the distance for Klein at that stage, just to cover.
Yeah.
So a sprinkle on the plus 275 on that side of things. Anything on the Borislev and Camilo? I mean, that thing is buried down.
Yeah. I mean, that was another fight. I like the submission to win by submission prop, but yeah, I think that fight can finish. I think Slava has a chance like later the fight goes because we know Camilo just kind of slows down, but yeah, no, that's
my last little sprinkle. Sosnikarov wins by submission plus 500 DraftKings Sportsbook. I think that could just be a club and sub type of situation. Get that top position. Don't go crazy. Just go for the sub. And always, you and I are going to be betting on Gregory Rodriguez submission. That's just how it works. So, yep, living in the middle range DFS wise. Got some bets. Make sure you guys are getting into Discord for a lot of the other side of things. But listen, the year is winding down. I mean, this is the highlight of the year, $25 buy-in DFS, $200,000. Leave money on the table. Do not be scared to leave money on the table. I think a lot of people try to go into these cards. They try to just spend all the money. You're going to get duplicated pretty quick, and especially with some obvious builds on this slate. Next week, we got your Armenian brethren, Zarukian versus Hooker. What is that, like minus 1,000, Armin?
God, that's going to be a banger too. Another fight where I get two of my favorite fighters fighting against each other in that division. So it's going to be great. Well, I love Dan Hooker too. So it's gonna kill me if you win.
It's a McBektic fight week, dude. Next week we got McBektic Earlby.
Oh, I love that guy. Banger alert incoming.
All
right, let's not look past this card though. This card's gonna be a banger. So.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I said, I love this card, top to bottom. It's going to be fun to watch. Make sure you guys are watching from the prelims on pick 6. We're looking for another winner. We're looking for go 6 for 6. Got some sneaky plays there. Got some chalk, right? We're taking chalk where we need to. But yeah, next week we move on to Sarukian and let's get some Run Pure Sports guys up top in the leaderboard. If it's not us, we certainly hope it's you. And we'll see you guys next week for one of the final cards of the year. For Mike Brown and JSU, we're out of here.